reliable. It's relatable. Hold on, I started my stream, so now it's time to clean my room. I just started cleaning. I turned on my stream, I was like, you know what? Why do I do this? Turning on my stream just inspires the weirdest impulses of like, you know, maybe I should put my hitbox away now that the Guilty Gear Strive beta's over. Where's my big burger? I gotta find my big burger for the background. It's been in a box for a while. Hi. I won 1 out of 8 games. You gotta step it up. Oh man, and I opened my window and just like flashbanged myself. Yeah, I can't see anything now. Oh yeah. Okay. So, it should be starting in like 25 minutes. There's an Overwatch 2 live stream. They said it's gonna last like 2 hours and gonna show new maps and the devs are gonna talk about things. And this all is kind of things that I'm interested in. I'm a React streamer. I just watch other people's content.
You got kids?
Being relatable, hey? Yeah. Welcome back. Where's my notifications?
You got kids?
Apu guy. Apu pie. Sorry. Yeah, I can't read the screen. I'm blind. Oh, that's not me. Come here. Is this me? Is this what? This way? That way? This way? Okay, see, burger back. You gotta have burger in the background. That sure is you. Yes.
You got kids?
Wait, I'm not on the cam yet. I'm not on the cam yet. There I am. It's me. How's everyone doing? Wow, everyone's doing great. I didn't even have to see the responses. Wow, everyone's doing great. That's really cool to see. He's doing great. The famous Just Chatter. It's me. It's actually been a while since I did a Just Chatter. Not that this is probably gonna count. And also I feel like we're gonna get destroyed that in like 20 minutes the Overwatch Twitch account is gonna go live with one of those countdown timers for when they'll go live.
You got kids?
Actually, that's 100% what's gonna happen. That's it. Well, why would they announce the time it's gonna start? They announce the time they're gonna start counting down to the start. So we probably actually have like an hour. I didn't consider this. What's on your head? That's me. I'm the frog. The person below me is the one that I'm mind controlling for speech. Don't you know anything? It's called VTubing, Mom. You wouldn't get it. A whole hour. Yeah, I hope they have an actual presentation and not
kids?
just gameplay while people talk. I imagine a lot of it's going to be gameplay while people talk, but I hope at the very beginning they at least have a presentation. That would be cool. Doing very well, thank you for asking. Welcome, a Faith Princess, welcome. Welcome. Cocooned owl? Yeah, I just read what I want to read. I read that like 3 times as coconut owl. I like coconut. Zombie snivy. Lash.
You got kids?
Sturdy bread. Gifted a sub. Don't gift her subs. She needs to join the team on her own. The team, guys. And I just want everyone to know, oh my god, can I even pull off this maneuver? This will help you enjoy the stream more. But I'm wearing my burger socks. Actually, that Mouse's Grandy got me. And we don't match. Feet. You guys like feet? Don't be weird. So, you're not gonna be able to see them on the stream, but now that you know they're there, I think it will improve the quality of the stream for you. Like, just between us, the early people who are in the stream, you know, the people that don't just show up for 1 second and ask the most obvious question possible that's being answered every 30 seconds. You guys, the real OGs, you know what socks I'm wearing. And that's important. That counts for something. Yeah, so now what? What do I do with this information? Just enjoy. Just enjoy. Give me 1 second. I gotta like clear my throat. It feels like really stuffy for some reason. Nothing I did work. I tried swallowing a whole hot dog to clear the windpipe. Didn't even do anything. Two of me in here? What? I told you! Yeah, Mouse's Grandy is the old one that she doesn't admit exists. Why is it logged on? I don't know. Dude, I don't know. All I know is Hype Train. Is it logged on? I don't see it. I mean, I can add it in chat, but I guess I remove VIP from it. Dude, I don't know. These are too complicated questions. We need philosophers. I'm not a philosopher.
You got kids?
Sturdy gave it a sub by accident. Ooh, it is her. I confirmed that it is her. You made a second account at some point, but it is weird that they're both logged on. Like, you've probably got another tab open in your phone somewhere that you just never close. Because if going by what Ashley does, Ashley's one of those people. I know you're all going to look down on her from now on, and you're going to hate her. And I don't want to put her in this position, but she's got, you know, 100 tabs open on her phone of things that she used a year ago. You go into her internet, and it's just like another 100 things. And on her computer every day, her like, I don't know what browser she even uses, so I can't judge her for that. But the amount of tabs that she has open from things she only looked at once, like 6 hours ago, drives me crazy. Actual craziness. Tab order? I need those. Someone could use these one day. Like, what if I need to open it again? And I don't know how, and I forget how to type on my keyboard. I love sharing my hype train emotes.
He would rather
Oh,
play
God.
video games than be with me sexually.
Demi Art, what did I do? What? Like, okay, no, like, I need a legitimate response. Sometimes I'm, like, bashful. I'm like, oh, why did... No, like... What makes you come into Ster's stream and be like, you know what?
You got
Ster,
kids?
he's worth 50 gifted. I just enjoy. Enjoy what? What have I done? I might be able to accept it on a day where, like, you know, I've been streaming for like several, you know, consistently. Dude, we're almost back to above 1K sub relevant streamer. That's the benchmark. You do you? I don't know, man. Thank you. I suppose is what I should say. But you know, I gotta figure it out. I like figuring these things out. Analytical mind. Just wanna figure it out. Mr. Relevant again? No, I'm not relevant until 1K. And then at 2K subs we do a hot tub stream, which I'm sure is what instantly gets you there these days. I think everyone just says hot tub, and I'm so out of the loop. I just figured out sheesh. So I'm way behind on figuring out the deal with hot tub streams. But I can definitely do that. Sheesh. Yeah, that one. That's the one. Explain sheesh now. I did on my Twitter. I had an amazing explanation of it on Twitter. A lot of people, everyone was saying that I had the all-time greatest take on sheesh and understanding, and my escalation into adulthood really helped explain it. By telling the story that when I was a young lad, in like the first grade, I got a Star Wars shirt.
You got kids?
And I like remember this memory so specifically that I was in like a Walmart with my parents and I saw a Star Wars shirt and I desperately wanted it. Had never seen a Star Wars, but I knew that it was very popular and I seen a lot of kids talking about it and like caring about it, and I just wanted to fit in. So I like hard committed to at like first grade level, I hard committed to I want this because I will fit in more, even though I haven't seen Star Wars ever and don't like it. And that's what sheesh is. And so I understand that, like, okay, I don't judge anyone who's sheeshing. I sheeshed when I bought the Star Wars shirt and like begged my mom for it.
You got kids?
Send me a picture of what? I got pictures of myself when I was in first grade with a specific shirt. What's up with the shaky cam? It's probably just me moving around. I don't know. Hitting my desk. Wiggling. Who knows? Lady Gaga Chromatica Oreos. That's the first. I'm in my own little bubble where all I do is work on my tabletop game. I ignore my wife. I ignore everything. I look at my phone. Apparently, it made a noise. I had to look. I don't care how disrespectful. It's like, oh, he's streaming. No, I had to. It made the noise. All I can do is this. Man, that's like one of my favorite quotes. I feel like only I get it. Thank you, Ashley. You get it. You get me. Knock something over. Ghostbusters? No, was not into Ghostbusters at all. It started now? Is it a countdown timer of it starting? I mean, yeah, it is. Yo. Stream will begin in 11 minutes. Well, let me get my stream capture ready. Let me probably close. No, I can't close map tools. I might need it. If the stream gets really boring, then we work on our tabletop key.
He got kids?
One sec. Ugh, one sec. Yo, do we get the Twitch chat up? Do you guys want to see these huge reacts on the official Twitch chat? Snake face, woo, let's go. Whoa, let's go. Dude, what did you do to Jeff? Yo. We don't. Chat, don't worry, it was rhetorical. I was just... How big do we want it? We want it like this? We want it like that? Want it like this? Frog reacts. Your face would be perfect. Okay, I'll try not to move. I need frog in there. Excuse me, I burpee. As long as it covers your face. Yeah, that's what my wife says. Always comes back to her. Zoom in on the 2. Dude, I miss vanilla Overwatch. When are we gonna go back to vanilla? Korea was contemplating passing a law based on Heroes of the Storm. No, dude, I didn't know what sheesh meant. I used to be so clued in. I don't know anything anymore. Why is my chat on my screen? Do you think anyone who wants to read my chat just already has chat open? Yes. I don't. You typed in it! For the mobile users gotta squint. They gotta zoom in on the 2 to be able to fucking see the 2. They still think this is Overwatch 1. Because I want to move the thing over here, and then I can adequately react from an angle. But then I gotta bring my enlarged frog. Yeah. Are you? Yeah. Answer every question. Yeah. Zoom in on the 2. We already did. Yeah. I think it's for us Notice Me Senpai guys to know when your message pops. Do I have the emotes pop up? I do. Okay. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Because I don't want to encourage people to like write actual messages. It's just the emote. You know what everyone does that I really, really, really need and I should like look into right now while I'm doing my stream, because who cares about anything else? Emote spam. The when people have on their stream like, oh, a combo of this emote. And like their chat bot will be like, wow, 5 times Keck W. That's so epic. Yeah. I need that. I've thought that for like a year, but wanting things and doing things is very different. But maybe now that I've said it out loud, BurgerBot will do it. I saw even on Poke stream the other day, he has like an on-screen, it actually announces it like at the bottom left every time, like pops up on his screen. How do I skip 6 minutes? Do some quick cardio. You know, pop down on your floor, do some pushies. Watching the streams like I'm watching with a friend. Oh, I'm absolutely your friend. But like the friend as if you asked one of those tricky genies for a friend. And you got Ster. Hi, friend. Hi. Now that we're friends, could really use some Prime subs. I would do the same for you if you needed them. Because we're friends and all. Like, you know that I would do it for you. If you, yeah. Tweet at you an article. Let me react to this. Here's what Heroes of the Storm law. Here, a politician proposes Heroes of the Storm law to prevent unilateral termination of esports competitions.
Than be with me sexually.
That is a way more boring. Like, if you wrote the actual title of this article, when you say, "Wow, did you hear about the Koreans proposed a law based on Heroes of the Storm?" I thought it would have been like some weird toxicity, like waifu have sex with World of Warcraft character thing. But when you're like, they introduced a law to help businesses do their esports competition. Like, why Heroes of the Storm though? Do they have esports anymore? Didn't Blizzard cancel all of that? Ster, no. Are you telling me no, stop, or no, they don't, and I'm correct? So Ster, yes. Am I gonna stream E3? When's E3? I would like to. There hasn't been a new game in like 6 years, so I feel like this E3 could actually be a good one. You get bored of GTRP? I did. I think everybody got bored of GTA RP. They just won't stop playing it, and it makes the RP really stale and have no significance. True. Hey, don't be excited for any games. It'll make it bad. Yeah, I try not to. I think last E3, one of the things I was excited about was that dragon flying game. That came out in a beta. Something Age of the Centuries. I don't know. It was awful. You don't need to worry about it or know it exists. Last exciting game was Cyberpunk. Wow. Wow. Dude, I've been playing this game called Arcadum. They made a game based on him. It's actually pretty good, though it's early access and it's actually kind of bad, but it will be good. Wait, real? It's called Arcanium. It's like a Slay the Spire. You get 3 heroes instead of like a single deck. It's pretty nice, but it is very early access. And you get to play as furries and really cute, sexy furries. Like, they did a good job making them really appeal to my carnal desires. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Oh, we starting? No, we're not. Someone production. We starting? Hey, we starting? Hey, what up, guys? Dude, April Fool's prank. It's your boy, Jeff Kaplan, back in the studio. I never left. Honestly, Jeff's the kind of person to make that joke, and it would go down as an all-time great. One of my favorites. Dabs. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jeff from the Overwatch team. Pranked you. Never left. In fact, I've been working extra hard on... And he doesn't say what, he just says hard on. And then he winks. I don't know. Is this a copium stream? I don't care whether or not he comes back. That whole like, would Jeff Papa please? That, like, I'm... But it would be fucking really funny if it was a whole con. Like a whole, like, month-long setup to this moment. Greatest of all time jokes. And he's been known to commit to shitty jokes like the Yule log.
Welcome to the Overwatch 2 Developer PvP live stream. I'm your host, Matt Mr. X, and throughout the stream, I'll be joined by some awesome content creators and developers from the Overwatch team as we learn more about Overwatch 2's PvP by watching some of these awesome maps in action played live. It's going to be an extremely exciting day.
Damn it.
Aaron mentioned during the developer update, everything you see today is work in progress, but, you know, being able to see some of this stuff, you know, day in and day out, it's truly awesome. Really excited for what the Overwatch team has to show for you guys today. So let's bring on some of my guests throughout the day. I'll be joined by the members of the Overwatch dev team. It's Associate Art Director Dion Rogers, Lead Hero Designer Jeff Goodman, and Game Director Aaron Keller.
See, wouldn't it be
How you guys
fucking...
doing today?
Someone might guess today, Jeff Kaplan.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. Now, we've learned so much about the PvE aspect of Overwatch 2. We've learned some stuff about, you know, PvP, you know, with push,
G-off Kaplan. I know it's not G-off, but I love saying G-off.
What else has gone into the
But how's that going to be your name and you don't commit to G-off?
You're right. We've talked a lot about the story side of Overwatch 2 and the cooperative
Do you know Aaron
PvE
Keller?
experience that we've been working on. But the Overwatch team has also been hard at work.
Pretty
on
sure I've met him, but
the
I'd
game
like to
where
say I know him.
Making new
No.
features, new heroes, new maps,
Not really.
some of which we'll be playing today.
Volume up,
And
please.
we've
I
also
turned
been
it down a
looking at
little
the
bit because
way
it seemed
PvP is played.
like they weren't talking about anything
over
yet.
time on the live game. And
He got kids.
we'll talk about a lot of the changes that we want to be making and that we're currently making to PvP, but there's one in particular that I want to highlight right now
Okay.
because it's substantial and I
Yes.
think it has a big impact on the way the entire team approaches PvP.
It's like
on
he's looking
Overwatch
right at
2.
me.
And it's also something that we're all really excited about. Overwatch has always been played
We're
with
removing-
two teams.
We're removing Diva.
Overwatch 2 will be played with two teams of 5 players, consisting of 2 supports
I actually
2
said that
DPS,
in beta.
and 1 tank.
Right, I was gonna. I mean, my next question was gonna be like, okay, like is roll?
I have been saying that for years, actually. I've never stopped saying that. Holy shit.
2 DPS, 2 supports. What led you guys down the road to make this change?
There are a lot of reasons for why we wanted to make this change. As I said earlier,
You don't need to tell me.
Overwatch has changed
I know.
over time. We've gone from having no hero limits at all in the game before launch. You could pick 6 Winstons if you wanted to for your team composition, to having a hero limit. We ended up introducing a role lock over the course of the game, and we feel like this is the next step in the way that Overwatch ought to be played. If you think about it,
All positives, man.
there is a lot going on in an Overwatch map. It is incredibly fast-paced. And
Now,
we
Overwatch
are
teams
always
don't
trying
need to
make
pay
a
one of their
map
players. They
easy
can
to
cut a
read,
couple
very
people. They can save some money. The league's struggling. They're on YouTube now, so they're not. No one's
Sometimes
watching.
it's just hard to track
The
what
balance is
other
easier.
Players are doing on the battlefield. Removing
Just
two
go
of
back and watch
those
all of my
simplifies
streams
everything.
since
It allows
Overwatch beta,
players
and
to
you'll
understand everything that's happening
you'll hear me
around
talk
them
about this
and to be able to
probably
make better choices because of it.
I don't know.
This change
few
obviously
times.
has a really big impact on tanks. And we will get into some of the changes that we're making to tanks and to some of the other roles in a bit. But tanks can be problematic. They're a DPS hero is simple. They're shooting. But a tank has
Yeah, I can watch hundreds of hours.
abilities that can be noisy,
Noisy?
or when stacked with other tanks can cause problems for other teams to try to
I don't like. I'm
overcome
bored of
and
hearing the
like,
reasons.
a great example of
Like,
that is two main tanks
I get
on the
it.
field.
I get
Sometimes
it, man.
that can be very oppressive.
I know you have to like
another team.
convince everyone else
I
that the
think
good idea is a good idea.
With five players out there,
But
there is a greater chance of certain people being able to carry. Whether that's the tank on the team or some of the DPS, there's just one less player on the other team that you need to take care of.
Abilities
and each
cost
player
problem
now
for it.
has the opportunity to have a larger individual impact.
I went back and forth on them either having they should only have one support or one tank, but it kind of reached the point where it was obvious it should be tanks the longer hero restrictions went on, because tanks are absolutely busted. They're better than all DPS characters. They're better than just everyone. And no one plays them. So you solve role queue not having tank players. You solve all, like, almost every game balance problem in the department of team versus team and, like, how fights take place. You just get rid of all that. You get to cut one person from all your irrelevant Overwatch League teams. Huge plus. That's like $100,000 a year probably saved. I know, like, oh, they don't all get paid $100,000, but they get, like, housing and they get all this other stuff. Huge. How many teams are there now? Like 12? They just saved $1.2 million approximation. And they did it at the expense of having a really, really, really Ster approved. They copied me. They didn't pay me for this idea. A Ster approved balance change.
It's sort of easy in some sense. I don't know if it's easy, but it's certainly easier to make sort of a single hero change, and maybe even like a hero rework like we've done in the past. But to change something so fundamental as there's only one tank allowed, really kind of cascades into a lot of different questions and problems that demand answers. So I mean, the obvious thing that probably comes up in people's mind probably immediately when we say this is, how does Roadhog work in a world where you could pick Reinhardt instead? Like how is that
make him a DPS. Say you made him a DPS.
So that's sort of our
say
first
it
question when we were doing it too. Like,
say it or I'm gonna hit you.
It was super fun when we playtested it. That has a lot of promise, but okay, we have to solve a lot of problems if we go this way. So that's sort of why it sort of has led to this larger.
Say you made Diva a DPS.
There's a lot of other changes we'll talk about as well.
And I'm done.
But it definitely,
I don't know what I'm done with. Hot
cascades,
tub stream
for
confirmed.
Example, healing, you can kind of focus on one tank now, and the tanks are even beefier than they are on live, the individual tanks, because this is one of them. So we're thinking, well, is it too good to just play like two main healers and dump healing in your tank, and is it too hard to kill now, and maybe healing is too good now, and it's but this is the time to do it. This is what we wanted to do with Overwatch 2, is look at core things like this and make sure that where we want them to be, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
the guy behind Geoff.
I'm not the designer, but
that's
I think
him. That's a mirror,
this is the
dude.
first real opportunity you guys have had to reset. Like, you couldn't just do this on the live game, right? I think that's kind of like what I assume, right? Is that this is like a holistic look at the game overall, and like changes that you couldn't do on live because they're just so massive.
Exactly, and like I said, there's other changes that go along with this as well, that are also equally impactful. So it's sort of like we just like shook the ground underneath the game like really heavily, and like all the pieces are kind of in disarray a little bit. So some of the heroes won't even be playable really by our playtesters here, because they're either heroes we're already kind of looking at heavily, or we plan on looking at heavily, so it's kind of not worth showing them in this context, or ones that we haven't addressed yet.
I wish I was smashing my desk too.
That just sort of gives you context.
That would
of
be
like
fun.
How big this kind of change is.
Well, I want to get right into the game. I want to see it live. I'm sure the fans want to see it live after getting all this like info. The first map we're going to be showing you guys today is New York City.
I don't have any challenging questions for you guys, and you already told me beforehand you're not really going to answer any of them anyway.
And there's a fun new payload for players to battle over. The world building team had
I think we all just want to see it live.
Creating this Overwatch depiction of New York. Tons of neat details and fun Easter eggs for the players to find. So I think it should be fun to take a look at this.
Yeah, no, when you guys showed this at BlizzCon Line, I was so excited. Obviously from New York myself, would love to see the Midtown Tunnel go over some of the adjustments that you guys have made.
Yeah, they made a map.
Here in
I'm
Overwatch 2.
I'm a lot more optimistic than I actually was pretty optimistic about Overwatch 2 being really good. Or a big good step in the right direction. I'm still like cautiously like, oh no, wait, no, I just said really good. Wait, no, let's bring it back a little bit. But the last preview they did at BlizzCon, I was watching it and I had all the people in my chat, all the weirdos in my chat after all this time, they're like, "Are you paid to be watching this?" Like I just think they're doing smart things. Fuck, dude. And I've been saying for a long time that if Overwatch 2 does not change core game mechanics, like making, I think I might have even specifically said making only one tank available, then it's like a complete waste of making an Overwatch 2. Because the game is so fundamentally flawed that the only way you're gonna fix it is with like another drastic rethinking of how the game is supposed to be played. Which helps that they're also doing new game modes and they got rid of 2CP, right?
Probably a lot of
Because that's essential.
One of the biggest things you'll notice, because there's less protection coming from tank players just to directly block bullets for their team. Typically, we'll find a lot more player on the map corners, map angles. Often people going for cheeky flanks and stuff. Yeah, Dion
I'll be
this.
so pogged. I don't know if I'll have time to commit to
exactly
like streaming Overwatch as much as I used to.
You know, that was one of the first
Or any
things we
game.
found in our original playtesting, and
See how Myriad goes.
A really good direction. I mean, like I mentioned, there's like, you know, as a designer, you sort of have to look past the immediate like problems in front of you and like, okay, we could fix those. Like, I think we can address, you know,
Okay.
some of
You got the
tank
fire
and
truck.
healing issues, and all kinds of other stuff. But
You got
at
the
heart of this,
city,
what's
the
really cool is
futuristic
that's
city.
really what we've been focusing on and
Made
working
of
through the
bricks.
problems.
I think something that's really interesting about that too is the gameplay is more fluid than it was
Babysitting
before.
on Ana?
A lot of times in Overwatch you get these really hard battle lines that get drawn between the two teams.
Okay, so I was looking forward to there being a presentation at the beginning.
And so you're
I don't-
able to kind of move around.
I know I'm not listening.
And you'll see it here a lot of times.
Are they saying anything of
chokes
value?
Aren't as hard of a space to get through. There's still a choke in the map, and you still have to work at it. but there
Overwatch
can be
maps
a lot
have choke
more,
points.
Like pushing through, and
It feels like they're doing like
on the choke.
just regular "this is an Overwatch match" gameplay commentary, not like what's new.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how has the 5v5 move affected map design? I feel like it kind of has to have a huge impact.
No, it doesn't.
On, what you guys are able to do, create different. Speaking about like players being able to take more control of the game, right? Creating more flanking routes, more opportunity for the Ashe to go to the side, get a pick, and open things up for a team.
Yeah, there's a lot more opportunity for players to do that. But at the same time, when you go for a flank, you're not leaving 5 players behind. You're leaving 4 players behind. And so you kind of have to be weighing some of these decisions in your head. The game is just as strategic as it was before, if not more so, because of the individual ability for players to have such a large
Scatter yeah, that is the scatter arrow icon.
For map design,
Yo, what if they gave all of the heroes 3 abilities instead of having some characters with like 1?
Hero.
Wait, no. How many does Doomfist have? What if they gave every hero the amount of abilities Doomfist has?
To make a space that kind of feels good for Reaper or a space that feels good for Pharah, I think that we'll still be able to play 5v5 on all of the original.
Yeah, what if everyone had scatter arrow?
Right. That is a
Everyone.
awesome payload, Dion, by the way.
We've always in the artwork of the maps, we've always placed what we consider cover objects. It just feels now with the 5v5, players will take advantage of that more. Even the previous maps, we planned cover objects to help protect players. Now with 5v5, they're even more effective. These artistic choices.
It's such a great point too, because we have started placing a little
I'm thinking
bit
of
more
what
cover
else I
maps.
can
And if you go back to some of the old maps, like if you
add
look
to the. Oh, dude, Pharah!
that middle section, that street section. of
Cut to
Team
Pharah
Rocket,
so that we can
there's
see if she
one
has an
piece of
ability.
cover.
Oh my God, does
In
Pharah
that
have a fucking
entire
ability? Use your ult.
section,
Do you have an
it's just
ability?
Corners of buildings is what you're using.
Well, she still only has 2.
That's a great point. I think you can kind of see it here. Even,
Still 1/2 of a Doomfist,
stuff like
no
that.
additional health.
I know the taxis here.
Looking
in the streets,
pretty
you have the
average.
Kind of windows, the pillar to hide behind in the middle. There's a route through the subway. There's so many different kind of angles you can take. Something we
Still
saw,
stationary in the
at
air while
BlizzCon was
ulting.
The 2 fire strike charge cancel Reinhardt.
Okay.
I noticed.
Am I mistaken, or did she die when she ulted?
Winston. My Winston
I missed it.
Not able to shoot at range. Can you
Right.
explain that to us a little bit?
So yeah, I was wondering
Okay.
if people picked up on that. So we were first watching Winston there.
All right.
This is an example of some of the tank changes we're talking about in regards to 5v5, but also a larger change we're talking about making tanks a lot more aggressive, be able to be a little more hybridy on the damage side and less just raw protection. So on Winston's side, he's ulting right now. Unfortunately, you can't see it.
It still really concerns me every time they say that, though.
Fire there, which is doing right now. There it is.
Because whenever they say we decided to make tanks more aggressive and be able to deal more damage, it's like they're not acknowledging that they did more damage than DPS heroes.
And so he actually.
Well, I like agree with everything that they did to tanks
So there's like
that I can see so far, but also it leaves that room, that's just that little bit of wedge room of like,
release it right before you land on them, and then you get the stomp damage too. And you can shock them or do a quick melee.
what do you
combo.
mean?
It's a lot more
What do you
interesting.
mean?
The fact that
Finally give tanks damage. What do you mean?
you shock somebody, they're getting away. You think you can finish them, and they just fair abuse away, or somebody just barely gets away. You get that extra, alternate fire shot to try to take him out on the way. And it's actually interesting playing against him now because you now are cognizant of that. So sometimes you're leaving a little earlier. Like, well, I'm gonna get blasted probably if I just run away. So I have to be able to survive
Quack
that.
quack.
Yeah, I think that's one of the decisions all Winston players face. It's like, okay, I've jumped on this player, I've gotten them weak. I can either now get out of my bubble and
Dude,
try
you're
to
dead.
finish them off, or just kind of hope a teammate does. But now giving him, I think it kind of goes back to more like that player, agency that you were talking about, being able to kind of take over the game.
Are these like
Being able to
known
finish it
players?
off.
Like,
Or
are these just like Overwatch devs playing?
This will never get old.
I'm doubting these are people. They seem like made-up names for their beta
I know that was a
or
dragon blade
alpha or
Celtic
whatever of
Genji
it.
he was able to take out his
They're bots.
kind of the bane of
Yeah.
existence of a lot of people.
Man,
But this
Yeah.
looks like, I guess, the second checkpoint, right? So this will unlock the
feels
interior.
bad for the Rocket
Grand
Queen.
Central Station.
Oh, this
I
is
bet
awesome.
Diva's
So
even
the
better at
payload
flying
kinda
and
goes
shooting rockets
inside of
now.
the station and kind of curves around, I guess.
And you can see the payload is driven by an Omnic.
My boy Speedy Rogue.
Little Easter egg.
My
to our
favorite
production,
player in Overwatch League is Deadly Kitten.
Our executive producer.
So you got a name.
Yes, Chaco.
Yeah, so they gave Diva the ability that when she calls in her mech, it deals 1,000 damage where it lands. Because, like, oh, the mech lands there. Doesn't it make sense it would instantly fucking kill anyone? Oh, Junkrat, he's a really funny guy that likes explosions. Doesn't it make sense that his explosions wouldn't hurt him? Oh, Farah, she has nothing. She's nobody. She's only in the game because of fucking nepotism, because her mom let her join. So it doesn't make sense to give her anything.
Yeah, I mean,
Fuck.
New York style pizza is the dominant pizza. I believe it's the water, but that is probably for a different stream.
Yeah, do you really want to get into this?
My thoughts on the water in New York creating the better pizza dough. You also notice.
Yeah, nice shot,
at least I
Lumpy.
noticed the new sounds, especially when like Ash
yeah.
shoots. That is something that it was discussed at BlizzCon Line. But I think it's different to kind of see it.
The fuck
in
are they even
action
talking about?
And also to see
The
all
sounds-
of the other players at the same time with those audio
The
changes.
sounds.
It just makes the game feel even more realistic.
Yeah, the sounds can get really punchy, and it just feels good to hold the trigger down with these different heroes. But you also get more information from it.
I mean,
So
actually,
we've spent a lot of time
his gun
not
does
just,
sound a lot better in
developing what these sounds
his
are, but
ultimate.
how
Oh,
they
just in
play
general.
different environments. So we've kind of upgraded the
You know.
entire sound system across the game.
I mean, not untrue, but they've talked about all this before, and I was hoping for a little bit more of them talking of their philosophy and game design and stuff going forward. But all I really feel like is going to be talked about for the 2 hours I think this was supposed to last is, so we only have 5 characters now, and there's only 1 tank, and it's still in development, and we aren't sure how that.
Lead from the offense here, not bad.
I think they're still in the phase where like they don't
The player
have a
also-
complete Roadhog or Zarya or Diva even probably.
We were like, yeah, this is fun. Like everybody have a great time, and then everyone's like, put your SR in the chat. We're gonna make balance teams.
Which is fucking bizarre.
It's just I feel like it's just
Actually.
the nature of Overwatch, right? Like,
Wait. Just stop talking for a second, Mr. X.
everybody pick it up. Like
How long have they been developing Overwatch 2? It's been like 2 years now where like main development on Overwatch 1 has stopped. Right? Or I think it's been almost 2 years. We'll give them benefit of the doubt. Year and a half. Yeah, we're year and a half. Man, I don't want to be the negative Nancy, but come on, man. Like a year and a half into it is when you go, you know what? Maybe Roadhog is a little bit, you know, not really a fucking tank. We don't know how that's gonna work.
And he takes up space not with a shield.
I feel like that would be somewhere around step 1.
That we have a Zarya swap, but talk to me a little bit about like the thoughts.
I mean, at least they're getting there, but it's still.
Zarya. I know there's some interesting stuff.
Sometimes I gotta pull back and be like, God damn.
So, like I said before, a lot of this is still work in progress. We're still sort of addressing hero by hero. But like because once we started going to one tank, it was sort of the big question was like.
Oh my god, they actually have Zarya as one tank. Oh yeah, because they did the experimental recently where she had 2 bubbles that she can use.
Or do we want more the opposite, where like we take the Reinhardts and the Rissas and Sigmas and actually give them some more aggression and be a little more like.
That's still like really.
So we definitely opted for that latter route after playing because it's like.
The only case that I can think of why you wouldn't make Zarya a DPS, because she has always been a DPS character in the tank role.
Had a lot of comments on in the past.
With like one supportive ability. But at that rate, is fucking Soldier 76 a healer because he has the healing field? Zarya is a DPS character with too much health.
I feel like I'm shooting shields all the time. So like we were definitely hearing all that.
So the only reason you wouldn't make her a DPS is just because you already have too many.
Got into this situation where we're like, oh, this is sort of
there's
here to reduce a lot of these effects.
Most of the game is DPS characters.
Important. You can still block huge abilities. They still have a decent amount of health, but less than they had before. But then in response to that, you can see Reinhardt here. He hit the wall right there. He didn't cancel it, but you can cancel your charge, and you can get two fire strikes.
Man, should be so a tank. I think they're probably considering that too. They did a lot of weird experimental stuff recently that all seemed pretty
kind of a minor change, but. It almost like completely
smart stuff. Well, actually, dude, if you haven't been following Overwatch, and I haven't been super closely, they had an April Fool's Day experimental patch where nearly every single decision that was in it, like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if they were just like good ideas, but I feel like at the time I was like, they're making these April Fool's Day balance changes just in case someone doesn't like them. They don't want to get so that they can go, oh, it was just a joke. We're so scared of you guys. Please try the game.
Just allows him to, get in there and be more aggressive without.
Also, that makes Echo, just as we were seeing that, like so much stronger when there's one tank and tanks are gods. So why wouldn't Echo always become tank, even though she already always becomes a tank anyway? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, where the Winston combo.
Reddit was full of bring back April Fool's Day.
Like get the jump damage, land on somebody.
Yeah, I should get like
have like this little meta game with like Reinhardt play, right?
The list of what they did.
Like this another layer of canceling the charge, being able to.
There was totally a like, wouldn't it be funny if Pharah wasn't garbage joke in it? That absolutely was never going to make release or like be an actual change.
Plays like that just seems so sick.
He's also got the ability to control his charge more, so you can actually turn around corners more.
Oh yeah.
So the charge, while you can cancel, it's also more aggressive and it's more versatile. I think something else that's really interesting, if you look at if people have noticed what's happening with Zarya, is she has 2 charges to her bubble now.
Yeah.
Is the trick. It's actually what we play tested in the April Fool's patch. So
yeah, April Fool's. Overwatch 2 is a fucking April Fool's joke. Pharah for the April Fool's patch she can move while using her ultimate as a joke. Pharah being not like the shittiest DPS character a joke.
It took me a while.
And they reduced her concussive blast cooldown from 9 to 6 seconds so that she could potentially actually be a mobile character.
I always wanted to play Reinhardt this way.
You're gonna want to pull that one back.
The charge in and
Yeah, we were
smash
joking about that
everything.
the other day, where I'm like,
If you want to move while you can ult, you better pick
canceling the charge just feels so right.
Echo.
Yeah.
But you're so like trained to kind
Shit,
of
I
how it is,
don't
like
know.
where you're just charging into walls.
Right.
That I was like,
That's
I was
Diva's
like,
role.
I don't have to do this anymore.
No.
Like I can just go. Like it's such like a great quality of life change.
Yeah, something
also
else
worth
I
noting-
think that's
oh, go on.
really interesting here is this fight's been going on for a while. Neither tank has fallen.
I can't remember. Some of the other ones were really
such
good.
a good job at keeping the tanks up because there's only one of them that they have to actually focus on, and the fights feel really good being the tank player. Now.
But
Like,
a lot of them were
times
similar to
in
that.
this
I guess you could think of it that way.
where
Where the April Fool's joke for Pharah is that she can move while ulting. The other ones were very similar. Like, this shouldn't be a joke. This should actually be like, hey, please consider. And I still think, I don't know. Does anyone even have the slightest estimation of when Overwatch 2 is coming out yet?
That from a support's point of view, you're able to dump resources into just one tank, and that also probably frees you up to do.
Oh,
a little
tomorrow,
bit of other
cool.
Stuff, right? Where the Batiste can do a little bit more damage. You know,
1 to 8 years, okay.
The tank and then focus on the damage. That probably has to be way easier in supports now.
For sure. Yeah, we got a lot of feedback from support players that it's a lot easier to focus, and a lot of times you almost have this like communication between the two support players, and you know you have like
Communication.
like, I'm just going to be, you know, on tank duty and just be on tank basically the whole time. And you have like a Lucio or something like that just to spot heal everybody else and speed everybody up. But there's other strats. Like sometimes we've seen people go too big heal, you know, main healers essentially, and try to just focus so hard on their tank that even with like Discord Orb on them, it's just hard to kill them. So that's going to be an interesting strat too.
Once all interest is lost. I mean, this is the kind of thing where the longer it takes to come out, it's like better.
It's been a lot of fun.
Because you would actually want to release this after more people had forgotten about it and had a break from it, and then when it comes out, go, oh yeah, I remember you said, oh, let's try.
Kind of displayed on the right.
Yeah,
We're
there's
generally looking through this.
It's not a big deal.
Go ahead,
You got
sorry.
kids?
I was saying we're generally
I'm just
looking
curious because it really does seem like it's
hero specific UI stuff like this. And we felt like this
like
could
it's just
use
never happening.
and it'd be a lot more readable.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm most excited about with the healer UI is
What's
it's
the
not just on
target
Zen, but it's on
audience here?
Mercy
What do you
also.
mean?
You see the portrait.
Why are you so
of the
confused?
player that you're healing, and so it's just a lot
Blizzard,
of-
I gotta say, you're charging $60 for a full game release? There's no way I'm buying this and giving into your greed when Bobby Kotick won't even reduce his paycheck.
Yeah, and you can see his Discord is down there as well. So
They're making it for that guy who's gonna buy the game day one anyway, because he's so fucking stupid. He doesn't realize the game isn't an actual sequel that has to be bought standalone and isn't going to cost $60. So when he realizes that he's just been like wrong and angry for no reason for like 3 years, it'll come out and he'll go, oh well, they changed for me, and then he'll buy it.
This has really been, I gotta say, for you guys probably, this is probably awesome to see, like the game.
Yeah, that guy in chat. So basically they made a new UI and they sell it as a sequel, Omega Lol. Like when the game comes out and he realizes like, oh, I was wrong the whole time.
Yeah, it definitely is. We've been playing.
They made it for
in
him.
this state for a long time too, and it's always so tough to play a game a certain way at work and then go home and it operates in a totally different way, and you're playing with people online, and you can't help but think like, if only you knew.
Yo, who's hot micing?
What I was playing, you know, every day. And so it feels really good to have that out in front of our community, so they can.
I'm kind of confused though. Is co-op or multiplayer the main focus?
There's a ton of like small changes in here too. That
Does
I
it
think
matter?
if people picked up on it after one game.
It has a multiplayer and it has a co-op.
Actually, we may end up removing.
Does like Call of Duty come out and you're like, dude, this is fucking stupid. There's a single player. I'm not even gonna play that.
We've actually slowed.
I'm not gonna pay $60 for just Call of Duty multiplayer, and then everyone does.
And the reason for that was to try to create a little more sort of prediction element to shooting an enemy, as opposed to like you can kind of, you know, AD spam a lot of times, or just like turn directions so fast that it was really hard to lead a shot, or you know, sometimes it felt like you're guessing a little bit on which direction they're going to go. So we tried to like just notch it down just a little bit, so you can't really feel
Salty?
as much
What?
of it in person.
I'm explaining the world to the
After
children.
sitting with her for a while, even just like I think it was.
They need to
this week or
know.
earlier this week, we started bringing up a thread again. Like, do we want to keep this? Actually, this has been around for a while. Is everyone still happy with this? So
The 80/80 spam? I don't think they've talked about that at all.
It is.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of
Unlikely.
back and forth on this one. So
It would be nice
but I
if they
think what
did.
whether
wait, are
or
they?
Not we keep a change like that in the
Shit.
game. I think what it speaks to is the amount of systems and how deep we're looking at like the entire experience of PvP in the game.
Yeah, seems like no stone on PvP is being left like untouched, right? Where you're able to kind of look under.
It's just new UI. Shut the fuck up, Matt. The fucking Blizzard chill over here. Oh, it looks like you guys are working hard on this. It's just UI.
What'd you think? First looks. What'd you think, man?
I'll be honest, I was a little bit skeptical when I first.
Well, I want to be the React guy.
You know, rip to the off tanks kind of thing, but I don't know. Based off watching that first map there on New York, I don't know. It looks quite spicy. This does. Could be quite good.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. Like, as somebody who I will wait in the DPS queue. As long as I gotta wait. But now like seeing the tanks and seeing how aggressive you can play and push the pace.
Yeah, fucking bring on your React tubers. I know how I can react. I'm 100% positive.
Yeah, I mean, well, super buff tanks. You're just gonna go in, right? This is it's always been the dumb thing when
Rip off tanks? If they're smart, they're gonna put all the off tanks into DPS role. Or support.
Yeah, now I'm going full throttle. I'm charging back in.
Honestly, Zarya would even be good on support if they just made her bubbles also heal a little bit. I know, Zarya's just fucked. Just delete all the characters. Just Soldier 76. And call it Overwatch of Duty. Remove the single player campaign because it's too confusing and people like didn't understand that the game had both. Just drop it.
So we have more than one push map in development, and I think we have more than one that we'll even be looking at today. So we're really committed to the mode, and we have a lot of fun.
What if it actually has a story? I'm curious if they're going to
the interesting thing about
spend the time marketing it as hard as they did the first one.
It sort of looks like
I mean, probably not because they already got all the benefit of that marketing. They don't really need to do it again. But some animated trailers would be cool if they are anything other than Winston telling you to show up. That always would have been great.
Or a match of control more than a match of payload, and you'll kind of see it. The mode can be.
They'll start to listen to top tier players in regards to in-game changes. Very recently, I think they streamed and again, been saying this since beta. They streamed the April Fool's experimental patch notes, like actual pickup games with pros. I forget what they did exactly. I think they had devs officially organizing and creating an event. I haven't been paying enough attention to like say the exact words correctly, but devs were definitely more involved with the pro scene than they had ever been before, and looking for feedback in like a structured, organized way rather than just like, yeah, we hear a lot of pros complaining about this, and we'll weigh that against all of the other people on Reddit and see if we can come to some sort of compromise.
I'll be honest, I was just AFK. It didn't really matter. But yeah, it was. I can't wait to see it. I just, hey, any Overwatch 2 news, give it me. I'll consume that stuff. Just give it me.
How do you guys think it feels now in 5v5?
The pros suggested balance changes and the devs implemented them as an experimental mode.
6-on-6. Does it play
Do you have the patch notes? A link to what they changed for that?
So push has always been maybe our most hectic mode, or our most dynamic game mode. And part of the reason for that is the way these maps are designed is we have a very sort of like wavy path.
I don't know. I've always been on that side of like, you have a beta branch. They had a beta branch, a whole other client for it, all these experimental changes that they were always, even not since it was before it was called experimental. It's like, why not say, hey, we are officially fucking hiring Overwatch League teams. We have academy teams. The teams have more players than they are allowed to play with. So they're not losing scrim time from their 12-person team that can only field 6 players. Let's like just grab some of these people, have them play. Like, because what Jeff would always complain about is that on the PTR they wouldn't get good enough feedback, that they wouldn't be able to like. I'm reliving it all. It's like hitting me in waves as I'm remembering. They complain that they wouldn't get good enough feedback, but doing this guarantees they get good feedback. Not just because they're better players, but because you're telling those players that you are interested in their opinion and you're setting up something for them so they'll put more thought into their opinion. Because most of the time, pros, in my experience, like going all the way back to like early Team Fortress 2, most pros don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they're less knowledgeable than the average casual player. Because they only learn the one thing that they need to learn for their one character that they play in the exact role on their team, and then they're just like brain dead about everything else. Thank you. Yeah, dude, I have a million examples that kind of shocked me where I was talking about the game to people that were on pro teams, like absolute best of the best. Back when, I remember like specifically when Sizer was on our team, and I was talking to him about like Scout and Mad Milk, and then he was like, oh, what does Mad Milk do? And he was like one of the best scouts in the game for years. And it just fucking blew my mind. And at that point, it wasn't like Mad Milk was new. It'd been in the game for like a year or two.
I think Push kind of plays like that a little bit. But there's so much more movement, I feel like, than both of those. And just.
But you only use pistol because it's. No, you only use pistol because 6v6 TF2 banned every item.
The things like about assault is that you can, you know, you have like these like long like battles, and then it's a draw, and you're just like, oh,
you didn't get a choice, so why think about it?
Be okay taking a loss there, you know. But like this you definitely get a winner.
Yeah, no, fucking Mad Milk was amazing.
Game modes where the actual objective and the mechanics.
And then if you the very few items that were allowed, like Force of Nature, if you used Force of Nature in a pickup game, no one would play with you anymore.
You can have incredibly.
So is either the item's banned and you can't use it, or you'll never be allowed to play again.
And it just came
Love
down
the
to
community.
what the two teams were doing, and the game mode itself wasn't really doing anything to enforce that, the way it might in Control or in Payload. And so with Push,
I mean, Demo Knight 6v6, exactly.
Is actually helping to control.
What was wrong with the fan? Players have an idea of what the meta is. And if you break from the meta, you're annoying to play against. Like, even if what you were doing was good, like if you played Pyro in 6v6 and Pyro was busted across multiple different patches at certain points, especially where the flare gun was way stronger than it ever should have been. But if you played Pyro, people would not want to play with you because it was annoying. And it wasn't what their mental ideal image of what the game was. Wasn't what you were doing. So it's like, why? I want to practice Scout in a 6v6 scenario, but there's a Pyro on the other team. Like, this isn't even a real game. This is fucking stupid. Like, let's never pick that guy for our team or in the game ever again. It's like right now in Overwatch, where you get the people that like main Symmetra or Torbjorn, the fucking Torbjorn one trick. Imagine that exact same scenario, except before the game starts, your team can agree to just kick Torbjorn from your team and get a new player. They would do it every single time. It was just actually feasible to kick the Torbjorn mains from your team.
Up above to the side, I think you can definitely see that, like, you know, fast-paced. It looks.
That sounds really good.
More like you can, as a DPS player, just kind of go off to the side, make a play, try and make a.
Torbjorn's a pretty harsh example because Force of Nature wasn't like strictly bad. It wasn't like picking Torbjorn. Especially how bad Torbjorn used to be. Rickin 100 bits heart. Thank you. I heart. My stealth knife. Hello, Ster. Please remove that fully fluffy kitten from your forehead. Potion Dweller, welcome. Thanks everyone who subbed, everyone who's hanging out. Cool.
I'm watching this. Yeah, I'm here.
Cool.
I'm fixated on the gameplay. I think, yeah, I mean, this looks
better rep if it won some
really
tourneys. Well, that's always what happens too. If something isn't meta, and you'll, dude. Any old school watchers of the Ster Overwatch streams? Anybody watch me get called like, hey, you're autistic, kill yourself, get off Symmetra, why are you playing Mei, you fucking loser? Oh, hey, it looks like competitive teams are all playing Mei now. Hey, can you go Mei? Hey, can we please get a Mei? Mei hasn't received any balance changes. Why is it cool all of a sudden? Oh, I saw Dallas Fuel was playing Mei, dude. Fucking Seagull.
Oh yeah.
What is that on the UI now?
I actually completely forgot about that. There's so many changes.
I was like, sound barrier doesn't give green health when I do it.
Right.
I remember you playing Ana and people telling you to die 1 week later. Beyblade meta happened.
We're pretty happy with it right now.
It did.
This is a change to.
I was too early on everything.
This is like a larger system, which is
I'm just like that hip. Like I just like
over armor and over shields.
thought for myself and considered what was good in the game because my whole life was playing Overwatch and I like came to really valid conclusions most of the time. But you know, I just wasn't recognized for my intelligence, my vast superior intelligence. And my main regret is that I wasn't loved more.
Especially you get into like PvE talents and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's super hard being like so much smarter than everyone and just better all around. Like, no one really gets that because most people aren't like that good. But if you get to my level, you'll feel it.
Understand what I'm looking at right now. This is like so insane. So we ended up condensing all of the over health.
Sombra? No, I never played Sombra. It happened with like Mei and
concept now, and so.
A couple of things.
Other than Summer's
kids.
Mei was one of the biggest ones. Mei and Ana.
More of a thematic thing than anything.
Because they were always
it
just
regen like
super good.
Overhealth doesn't have a regeneration value. So it was like
like how the fuck is every choke point in this game where all you can do is push through one choke point the size of Mei's wall, and everyone thought Mei was bad? How can you come to that conclusion?
Or if I shoot through it, it can't be healed and stuff like that. So it kind of helps.
Blows my mind. And then one day, like a team started like, oh, we're just gonna start Mei walling Hanamura.
I noticed before.
Every Hanamura game Mei.
Is there like kind of
wow, it's exactly that size.
Does that change the respawns at all? How does that work on push?
Yeah, it does. So the robot starts in the middle of the map, and it pushes those, those red barricades in front.
Wow.
And you can use those.
I'm sorry, I haven't been listening to anything they're saying. I don't know if like there's anything.
And if the robot's able to push it,
there's nothing new to react to for Overwatch 2. It's just the one tank change, and we talked about it.
You can kind of see it just off to the left here.
You deserve this just for the pro players aren't the best for feedback comments. Years of people acting like playtime and rank is the only thing that makes input valuable. Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. Thank you for the bits. I always felt like I had a you know, again, I'm just so intelligent. God damn it. Making TF2 videos for pub players for many years, but also being invested in like competitive, to be able to actually understand that both sides want different things for very valid reasons on both sides is something that like most players' perspective is very narrow.
And it got like really chaotic.
That they just
have no idea where you were gonna spawn. So
they think the bubble they're in is everything.
Grace period in there, or made it a little bit stickier by forcing him to return.
Justin saying Jesus Christ. Justin saying 14.
If that was the case,
awakens me.
Yeah, you would have like if I spawned this 1 second, I would spawn close, and then like Stylosis spawns the next second, and he's far away.
Yep. And I mean that happens in Overwatch, you know. But
damn.
It was way too blatant.
They kept Hanzo in the game. That's fucked up.
She is incredible. I love her.
It's actually a pretty recent thing we checked it in, but it's pretty new.
Is her damage ramped up when she's charged? Like more so than
yeah. So you have the same bubbles you had before, but they're both using shared charges. So yeah.
They kept Sombra. That's worse.
Because this increased flexibility.
I don't know. Sombra is one of those characters where you can just nerf her hack timer and she becomes irrelevant and no one will play her. Like how she was on launch, where it just took too long to hack and it wasn't viable. Because people would react and just shoot you and you'd have to teleport away. But Hanzo, if you nerf Hanzo's arrow to the point where he doesn't one-shot headshot people, I think you start getting death threats as Blizzard. And you don't want to go that far, because then he's utterly unplayable and pointless. But if you don't do something like that, then your game's gonna suck. So
Actually, if I
You
see
gotta
two,
just,
you know,
you gotta
get
bite the
pulled
bullet
into
at some
play
point
the
and
team, I think if I double
balance
shield him,
Hanzo.
you know, I saved it up. That's gonna be
yeah,
kind
I
of
didn't even
ridiculous.
Or take his
so-
dash
Not even
away.
that. Like, yeah, not
I
just
don't know,
applying
man,
the two
something.
bubbles to yourself, but you could, because they share the charge, you could theoretically like bubble again G Blade and then
Need
bubble
something.
him again, right?
Yeah.
Or a Pharah ult
Oh yeah.
works really well.
So,
So this
many,
is-
so many different ways. Like,
Yeah, so this is like, as I just kind of recently put in, coming off the back of the April 1st stuff. And
I think Overwatch rank
seeing
needs a
how we
pick
feel about
ban
it.
phase.
It's been pretty interesting. I'm certainly concerned about it in some cases.
Uh,
but
ba-
there's some really awesome
A while
players, so
back, I think people
kinda
brought
let
this
that run
topic
for a
up a
while and
lot,
see
and
what
I was on the
goes.
side of I would love to see competitive Overwatch have a pick and ban phase, like Overwatch League level competitive have it, but to have it in actual ranked eats so much time, which I'm well aware of firsthand because Paladins does it, and I think it's good that Paladins does it, but you're like, you spend 10 minutes picking a team, finding a game, and then someone dodges at the very end, and it's miserable. I think you would end up causing more problems than you would fix. And then the other problem is if you only have pick and ban phase for Overwatch League, then the game the average player is playing is different than the pro scene, which always creates a bigger distance between those two things. And you always want casual to feel as close to competitive as possible so that it's actually people relate to it and want to watch it. So that itself couldn't even really have it. So I think
I don't know what you're talking about.
in a utopia, pick and ban phase would be great, but it will never be it'll.
Oh, that's a problem.
It's too many problems.
Yeah, I imagine these games go right down to the wire.
I mean,
just as we
it's
saw there.
definitely hectic there towards the end. This is going to be quite good for Overwatch League, I'd imagine. This is.
Do you know if sex will be in Overwatch too? They might have a comic where like they
Yeah, I think
announce
Stylus,
the
I think your
sex
point, like,
of characters.
Yeah, when you think about like 5v5 or 6-on-6, you're like, oh well, like does it still have that like big like energy, like that fast paced, like
Big enough
kind of
character
pace
pool. I think it's big enough now with the new heroes they're gonna release and only having one tank.
Of the game.
That would have been a
That-
problem before.
yeah,
I don't
you
think that is
still have
anymore.
these fast-paced fights. You're able to make plays all over the map.
It sort of ramps up, right, as the match goes on. It gets
Yeah.
more
And yeah,
more
people
and more
dodging if you don't go
intense,
meta.
a little
It's
bit
just
sort of
there's so
crescendo
much
towards the end. That's
annoyance
really
to it.
nice. I really like that.
It's got that Overwatch music where it kind of
Yeah.
adds.
Yo, did they kick out the other dev?
Yeah, and push. This happens in push a lot. It goes to overtime.
Feels bad.
More often than it doesn't, and it was a decision that we made when we were developing the mode.
They execute? Whoa, I missed
where
that.
We had to decide what was more important for push. Was it for one team to be able to get the robot all the way to the end of the map, or is it more important for the robot to be moving back and forth in the map? Because it's really hard to get both of those, and so we think that this mode plays better to have it moving back and forth more often, and so the mode mechanics and the map design is all kind of tailored to have that, and it makes it like really exciting.
Yeah, it's just the
Same
fast
hero on both
moving,
sides.
fast
Same problem. You can't really prevent it.
combat, right? I think the kind of Jeff like
It just causes too many gameplay issues of like
that
that guy's about to respawn and he might want to go Widow. I'm gonna like pick Widow real quick so that like he can't, and then he's gonna leave spawn. Then I didn't actually want to play Widow. I'm just gonna switch. It's just like weird, weird stuff.
She's really scary in this form for sure, and I think that's kind of what we're thinking for a lot of these, sort of off-tanky.
I'm not fully opposed to
and Diva.
queuing into role queue, picking the hero that you want to play,
I think it's worth noting
and
that we're
then
not, like, taking every tank
not being able to
right?
switch
In some
ever.
cases, we're pushing some of the more
Which I know is against. Oh, Overwatch is about hero switching. No one plays it that way. It's cool that you can hero switch, but they have never actually committed to that because switching heroes removes your ultimate
give her more missiles or something like that.
and things like that.
She can
So
actually-
switching is always
she
like
slides a little bit closer towards
detrimental to you.
the defensive route.
So I think you'd have to have some cascading layers of changes to make that work, but that wouldn't be the worst thing to ever happen. And then in ranked, you would kind of just accept, like, you queue into a match, you have a Torbjorn on your team. You can't just harass that player to switch. You have to actually try and play the game. So I think it would remove a level of toxicity. Like, it would still be there, but you kind of
Like, yeah, I don't know. That's
circumnavigate a bit of it by getting players to accept the situation that they're in rather than harass people for an out.
Stylos is not going to leave the call. He's just going to
So overall, I'm not advocating that they should do that. I'm saying it's, if they wanted to, I think they could, and it would be possible, and I would be like okay with it. But it's probably better that doesn't happen.
Go over some of the stuff that's going on with the tanks. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
I think that's more of just deciding what kind of game you want. Because like I was saying, they never fully decided that the game is about hero switching. Because they don't have the kind of support you would expect from the game for it to be about hero switching. Yo, still stationary. And also I'll recap because there's some new people here and, you know, people churned in and out. So the big change they announced was that there's only one tank per team. And it's a 5v5 instead of a 6v6. Because there's only one tank. The tank's a little bit beefier. I think you can see at the bottom, Reinhardt here has 2 fire strikes instead of 1. He's got a little bit more health. I think his shield HP is... It might actually be double. I forget. I'm thinking of the older preview that they showed. Ster, what's your opinion on all of that? I've been saying for years they should have done it. Because... a million reasons. They tried to justify it for like a full hour just in case anyone was scared about it. It's just all around really good. Not enough people play tank. It's easier to find one tank than 2 tanks. Tanks were already really overpowered by just like the history of Overwatch is every time a meta was broken and people hated it, double Zarya. Even going back to the time where you can have 2 characters, double Zarya was broken. Double shield people fucking hate. Dive is entirely based on how many tanks you have. Just you saw the main reason why I'd always advocated for this is because you get to make the tank actually fun to play. Because if there's only one of them, they have to be really strong and command a lot of presence. And tanks are only going to be fun if you command a lot of presence. And the significance of having that tank feels like it means something. But currently it's like, okay, Reinhardt, hold shield, hold shield, hold shield. Okay, I'm irrelevant because now Orisa puts up a shield. And I'm just going to wait. And then we're going to like keep doing this weird ass swap. And then we're just going to stand in a ball and AoE heal. Shut the fuck up, Uber! Now you can go ahead. They're not doing the same thing with healers. They said they might have to balance change it, but still 2 healers.
Some of the core mechanics of the game. So we're going to rehash a couple of things, of course, over the next few maps, but we want to drill down on a couple of the things we've already talked about so far. And to help me do that now, we'll be joining our Overwatch League superstar, Matthew.
Real quick, I always said this too because Paladins, the better Overwatch, you guys might have heard of it. It's actually the better Overwatch. They have, generally their metas use 1 healer instead of 2 healers. So it'd be 2 tanks, 1 healer, and then like, it's 2 DPS, right? They have 6 players? I can't remember, it's been a while. But when you say like, we're only gonna have 1 healer, the healers in that game are really fucking cool because they feel really powerful and they get to throw a whole bunch of abilities on them. So when you have a character that can deal DPS and heal, they're just strictly always better. The more you hybridize a character, like Brigitte, who can heal and sort of tank and sort of DPS, it's busted every time the more you try and make someone do multiple things. But if you just take every crowd control away from everybody and say, tanks can crowd control, then you can actually have some fun abilities. And it's similar to how they do it, where like healers are nuts. Just let the healers be insane, because you only have one of them, and if a healer dies, you usually lose a team fight. So it's the same here. Tanks can actually be strong, because you only have one of them. If you lose them, you kind of are probably going to lose the fight.
I like that in general, they're trying to give more.
I'm going to be right back. I'm going to pee.
Just one tank, because I feel like otherwise, a lot of tanks, like, you know, Zarya and Diva, they would kind of struggle because the way they're designed right now, I feel like they weren't really, you know, made to be played solo, if that makes sense. But now I feel like if they do the proper changes, then I think it could actually be pretty good.
As stupid as the question.
Absolutely. You saw there
Hey,
as well a
chat.
couple of the changes
14.
we mentioned. Winston's
Jesus
Maze,
Christ.
we haven't
I
really
gave
talked about. It's definitely
$14
part
to
of
Jesus
a wider
Christ.
conversation that we can sort of tap into in a moment. And of course, we'll be rejoined in just a moment by some members of our development team as well to maybe add some context and field some more of these questions here. We already heard a little bit about Diva and sort of the way that she was sort of tweaked. So I want to take this opportunity to bring back in Jeff Goodman, of course, the lead hero designer on Overwatch 2, and Dion Rogers, our associate art director. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here. Of course, now you have a bona fide main tank player at the professional level in the room here, and Super, of course, a chance to share some of your thoughts. But gentlemen, overall, it definitely feels like the role of the tank changes vastly now in this landscape. Not only is it just one tank, but maybe some of the roles or things you're expected to do in the game may have shifted.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, it's sort of like, definitely in the past, it's somewhat true as well.
Shut up. Their opinions are wrong. I was just remembering more of the arguments that I've made over the years for why there should only be 5 players. Number 300 on the list. You know how people are always like, well, the skills, like, no, what do they say? What is it? Guys, say something about Overwatch. You're going to say it. Well, someone will say it. The individual skill doesn't matter enough, that you're just shooting a shield, and that, like, how good you are is, like, the skill cap of the game is the tank fucking you over and not letting you do anything. The less players you have, the more individual skill matters. You got 5 players, you got 1 tank? How much better you are than everyone else matters that much more. Which I feel like this game has always had a huge problem of, too. That it is so based on team play, and it doesn't matter how good you are unless you play Widow with an aimbot. And, like, even then, if you're Widow with an aimbot and the other team knows that they can counter it.
I agree with what Jeff said. There's a lot more choice in tactical decisions you're making as the tank now. That it just feels fun and really
They did say that during the gameplay? Well,
I love that you
look at you listening to them instead of me.
maybe haven't covered a great depth so far, but because the role of the tank maybe changes, or maybe it becomes more focused now to some degree. Reinhardt, obviously, we've known him to have a sort of a passive ability on live where he's less.
They agree Overwatch should be single player? Yeah, duels only.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk a bit about role passives, because that's something that is, is.
I don't know, like, there is a little bit of, and they did a ton of it, of wanting to defend the decision to have 5 instead of 6. But I'd actually be interested in talking to someone who disagrees and thinks that's a bad idea, and try and get to the bottom of why. Because I can't think of, like, one negative of doing it. But I imagine because I'm Ster, like, I'm probably in the collective minority. I don't know. Dude, let's read Reddit. Let's go to fucking Overwatch Reddit and read the giant 2,000 thumbs up shitpost comments of, like, I can't believe they're killing the game because we're not getting any off tanks. There's no possible way for them to move them to a different role other than tank.
Which is what we're trying to incentivize. That, come in, maybe you cancel charge and try to get hammer swings in there to build your ult, but, like, was that a worthwhile trade-off if the enemy shot you so much that they built more ult than you did? So what we've done is,
okay, what's the shittier Reddit at this point? Competitive Overwatch or Overwatch?
Across the board for all tanks now.
I think competitive Overwatch.
They're tuning, but you can kind of see it here a little bit.
Yes. Either take your pick.
You generate a lot less ult. And then for
5v5 kills Overwatch for me. Parentheses as a tank player 41 minutes ago.
Tuning maybe even more aggressive than the other ones is they get a movement speed bonus just across the board, which you can see here.
Biased tank player here, but 1T, 2 DPS, 2 support absolutely kills the way I have fun in Overwatch. No more tank synergy and carefully coordinating your resources in your engages. More deathmatchy style fights to have more carry potential instead of overcoming your opponents on the back of good team play and synergy. The moment this hits, I'm out.
So we started a little higher. We were tuning it back a little bit. We're trying to find the number here, but it's really.
Is it common in a game like, I'm just going to use Counter-Strike as an example. Is it common in Counter-Strike that the team with worse team play often wins?
But also, like, there are times where, let's say you're like Reaper or something, and you commit your resources to get at an enemy in Zenyatta or something, and he's trying to run around a corner just get away from you, and you know you could just
My brothers are overreacting.
Time.
My brothers, not tank brethren. I don't know if this is big enough for you guys to even read.
Pretty powerful, even though it's kind of a little subtle there. And then the
Fletcher kick, true.
Support changes this is probably something that on a mains especially you're gonna
like just because there's less players and one less tank doesn't mean that team play is any less valuable in the team game where all of your fucking other heroes have abilities.
Right, exactly.
But you don't need 3 tanks for your tank to be saved by Baptiste anti-death healing thing.
You know, I always feel like you're an auto player. You know, obviously when you're really low, you're like, I guess on 8 myself.
It's like the supports will have to work with the
50
tank.
Like, am I gonna waste my nade just to heal myself? Where's my other healer?
Usually the
where's
other healers are in
like,
front of you as well, so like they have to turn around.
Right.
Let me read this more for some good ones.
Exactly. So that's been really awesome, especially for us designing new heroes, because I feel like we're in this position every time we design a new healer. It's like, okay, well, we have to come up with some mechanic that they can heal themselves, because it's like ridiculous that you can't like, you know, shoot yourself in the foot or whatever is always on a joke. But so now they have these sort of like, you don't have to worry about that anymore unless we wanted to add something like
growing Yeah, I'm not happy about it either. I think off tanks were the most interesting role on Overwatch. Personally, I wish they went 1-2-1 and had a flex role where one member can switch between all the roles. That person would be on tank all of the time. That person would just be a tank. And they would get yelled at hard if they weren't a tank. Imagine the meta is fucking double shield Reinhardt Orisa, and your Orisa goes Torbjorn. You don't know what you're asking for. And I think off tanks were the most interesting role. Hot take, off tank wasn't a role. The role was tank. I know that's not a hot take. It's just he's straight spitting. Those are just facts.
There's a lot of ways to escape. You can have help and everything, but you never actually go in that lockdown state. You're like, okay, well, here's the 3-headshot. I guess I'm dead. So, you know, and for her, it's really interesting too because she still has, at least right now, she still has that sort of cleave effect, the piercing that can hit multiple targets. So, and you're doing so much damage now. It's kind of fun to play this game and try to get all this extra damage.
Yeah, off tanks were just DPS tanks.
By piercing through tank or. You know, certainly if Zarya's
Overwatch 2, May can freeze you?
So it's kind of an interesting...
oh, did they re-record all of like the ability previews? I didn't even think of that. I'm surprised they went to the effort to do that.
What we're really playing around with, and this isn't actually in this build, this is something we've been experimenting with.
Okay, let me know.
Hasn't quite been successful enough to quite put it in the build yet, but this is something we're looking at, is just generally looking at crowd control across the whole game. Like, where do we want it to be? Who should have it?
Thanks.
Because we certainly we've gotten feedback over time. We totally understand and respect. Like sometimes you're playing against
remove flashbang
the ultimate CC team with like May and I don't know McCree and whatever. And especially as a tank, I'm sure you're well aware of this. And you're just like, oh my god, I hate my life. So we've been experimenting with like just generally setting guidelines. Like okay. Tanks should probably have CC. They're all about space control, and you know they have that role to be able to burst shatter or you know create that those great opportunities. But should as many DPS heroes have CC as May? Maybe McCree doesn't need a stun, you know. And so we're looking at all of these, especially mostly actually really the DPS and the supports. Currently, like again, this is all like really hot off the presses because it's not even in this build, but we're probably thinking that like Ana's pretty cool right now. People are generally pretty cool with her sleep. There's a skill shot element involved.
Did I feed them lines? I've been feeding them lines for the like 5 years I've talked about how these things should have always been this way.
You're giving me cool talent ideas, actually.
It's just a shame it took them that long to get there themselves.
We're still playing. That one seems pretty cool, but like McCree, probably not so cool, even though he's sort of like ingrained on McCree as a stun. That's like what he's about. But it's like, okay, well, what if he didn't? What if he had something else? Or what if it worked a different way? And of course, that almost has as many ramifications as the tank changes, because it's like now we're talking about, okay, we take all the CC away, Tracer, Doomfist, Wrecking Ball. These heroes are just like out of control now, right? Because like they're sort of heavily countered by CC. So then we got to go back and change those heroes, of course, as well as the compensation for the CC heroes. So that is something that's in progress.
We have to balance our game.
trying to, a lot of these changes, including the tank changes, are trying to get back to like, core shooter roots.
It definitely feels like, Jeff, we were at points we were wondering, like, is this game?
If we make a change, it makes, like, it affects other things. We usually just ignore that.
For developers to say this game's all, it's about the gunplay, but as the game evolves and you have these ideas and you bring these new abilities in, that it can sort of change that. Super. Usually, mate, it's hard to get you to stop talking, but you've had a moment to absorb some of this. Let's talk about how you think the role of the main tank or tank in this regard is going to change.
Oh, listen to this guy. He's played tanks. He's played tank he gets paychecks to play tank.
You have a rock
He's going to be right about whatever he says. Facts.
You sit on that stream and you just go. But tell us how you think this sort of changes.
Yeah. So that was kind of a big worry of mine, was like, you say one tank, and then I'm thinking current Overwatch where, you're playing against a Brig and then an Ana and then a McCree and a Mei, and then, you're stun locked for 17 seconds, then you want to alt F4. But if they're, if it is, looking at the rest of the CC in the game, and you're looking to reduce that across the board, and then on top of that, you're adding more utility to tanks, I think that's, it's going to make it easier to do that. Because I have felt that CC is kind of, it's a little out there sometimes, it's not always the most fun to play against.
That's a pleasant way to say it to devs.
I always felt that displacement CC was almost more egregious than like stuns, because like if you get booped by like a Lucio and like a Brig whip shot or a ball that can like swing back and forth, I always felt that was more like annoying and frustrating to play against, because you couldn't really control that. Like you kind of just got knocked everywhere, and that was just the way it was. Are those being like looked at as well as stuns, or is it like everything across the board?
Yeah, definitely. But the nice thing is we have this new tuning knob of the tank passives to say, if we still want Lucio to be able to boop enemies off cliffs or something and still leave that strong, but we still think tanks are being booped too much, we can just dial that like knockback reduction up a little bit for the tanks, so they're less effective.
Okay, I'm hearing tanks should not be knocked back as far as Mercy. But they shouldn't be equal when you're a big giant
what it means to be a tank player, and I think
armored Reinhardt. Okay.
More of it in action. Dion, I can see it here on the little preview screen, but our next map is really incredible, and it really captures, I think, the vivacity and vibrance of
they've been calling Reinhardt an anchor tank for like 6 years. Yeah.
Rio, another map we wanted to do for a long time. We have several artists on the team.
I feel like anchors are supposed to
a part of their life there, so it's
not get pushed around.
Kind of dive in and see this Overwatch version of Rio, the beautifully painted favelas, colorful, vibrant club. You get to visit where Lucio's club is. The team loves going to Brazilian barbecue, so one of the spawn rooms is a Brazilian barbecue place. It's another map. We're just
how do I put this?
Creating different details and
fuck Lucio. Just a quick summary. Fuck Lucio. Oh, he's the greatest hero. He goes around, he says, well, he's with Overwatch. Oh, yeah, music. I use music to kill people. Oh, yeah. Join my fucking super corporate club. Designed after me. All proceeds go to me. Fuck you.
It's fun and sunny and colorful, and I think it's a map that feels like Overwatch when you play it,
Already that sort of signature vibrance that so many of Overwatch's maps have been credited for is there. Can you obviously, I don't want you to give away too much of the story, but is there a context here, like where are the attackers starting from? Because I see some beach, I see different
lore
sort of getting fleshed
out. Is there lore
as we go through the map?
Okay, so the defense actually starts in Lucio's home. So yeah, obviously there's a story layer to Overwatch.
You're defending Lucio's club because of the financial incentive.
You get a little hint of where we're going with that, but we're not talking too heavily about it. Also,
do I got the right pitch here?
I, Reaper, be dark evil man from Talon. I'm gonna do some dastardly evil. I'm gonna go shoot up Lucio's club.
What the fuck? That's what we're fighting over?
How closely Rio plays into the game. You saw
the real Reaper? That's me.
A while ago, but there's definitely more.
I kind of fumbled really hard. I started doing it, but I was like, wait, I didn't think of lines yet. Someone feed me lines.
If that's fine. So if I'm pretty sure like way back in the day there was like an interview that I read that was like 5 was too small and 7 was too big for the roster limit, and then 6 was perfect. But like, I'm kind of curious, like, where along like the Overwatch timeline did that philosophy?
That was a very, I don't know, like 1950s Reaper.
People learning how to play the game better.
Yeah, see, me and the boys are gonna come down to the club, and something might get broke if you don't pay up.
Touched on at the beginning, like before everything, and you could just play 5 Winstons. In fact, we had an internal tournament.
Okay, I mean, like, before you were stealing Doomfist Gauntlet, said to destroy skyscrapers and unleashing Omnics on the world, but like,
so like
Lucio's earning a living.
Really, any game, you try to make the best judgments for what you have and what you're playing.
I
but
guess.
Once you have the game in the wild, you get it in everybody else's hands, and it marinates for a while, and you're making changes. Like, your opinion on this stuff definitely changes. So I think over time, like it was touched on, we were still keeping an open mind to maybe doing some of these kind of changes, and then coming Overwatch 2, we were just like, let's revisit everything, and that was definitely one of the major core decisions of Overwatch 1 we were really looking forward to revisiting, and at that point we were just like, yeah, maybe this is actually just much better. Maybe we were wrong all along.
Wait, what are they talking about?
The people always say...
What were they wrong all along about?
Say, you're not necessarily wrong at the time just because you were wrong in retrospect.
No, you're still wrong.
But, yeah.
No, Jeff, you're still wrong.
This is a hybrid map. I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning here. So, much in the same way as Kings Row, we'll be fighting for control of a payload here, which will eventually roll on out. And we kind of teased, yeah. So these payloads. This is, I mean,
fuck.
I'm no stranger.
What do you mean you weren't wrong at the time?
This is great. Obviously, we tell the story in Overwatch in Overwatch 1 with these payloads here. So, looking forward to seeing how that story gets fleshed out. What I'm seeing already is real difference in map geometry, right? As we move into the second phase, all of a sudden,
being wrong. So, okay, when like years ago when I was like, hey, this should be 5v5, was I wrong then?
Really feel like,
or were you just less wrong?
Yeah, that was...
Oh, you can go ahead.
How does it work?
Oh, that was just one thing. We're trying more of this phased approach with the visuals and the gameplay as we move through the space.
If you're right too early, you're wrong. Yeah, it's like the Mei thing. The Mei and Ana Beyblade stuff. Right too early, you're wrong.
So this visual
Fuck, dude.
as well as
Dude, they're pushing the peacock.
much more clear in some of the newer maps.
Lucio has a peacock mobile.
Yeah,
I fucking hate. Name a fantasy character, a fictional person. I hate Lucio more than them. He's the fucking worst. And it really is just the worst because no one talks about how he's actually in lore the worst.
You know, a real pain to get through.
And it upsets me.
Because you feel like you really only have like one way to go through. But I'm seeing at least
you can ride his cock now.
A lot more flanks.
Yeah, I'm not touching that.
Ways to access the point, and I think that's overall better for the design because I feel like when you, especially on Hanamura first, like going through that choke is kind of, you know, it can
Serena Skyrim.
Not fun sometimes.
That's a weird one.
Just not clicking, or if it's just, you know, they have a hard comp that you just can't counter, and I think it's just better.
Serena.
Yeah, we want to give players more options to solve a problem. Say they're stuck at the choke.
No, see, because everyone thinks Lucio's a nice guy.
Break through, basically.
He's not.
They don't have to rely fully on the tank.
Here we are in the official Overwatch League 2 match. Really exciting match we have for you today. Mercy hiding behind the cock. Gonna see if Doomfist can pound it. See if he shows up behind her. And continues to have 3 functional abilities. One of the best passives in the game. More abilities than every other character.
So obviously, you've got.
I don't know. They switched camera. I'm not in control of the camera here. He's not doing anything. I just wanted to make the cock joke and be the funny guy. Nice.
How big the map is, right?
Dude, they gave you fucking 3 abilities and an ult, and you missed them all, Doomfist. They gave you tank levels of health.
Ways of approaching the point. So it doesn't feel big, but it definitely, as opposed to maps we saw in Overwatch on live right now, it definitely feels bigger, right? Was that ever a consideration, trying to balance that, the sort of size and the majesty of it all?
Yeah, it's definitely more detailed than before, and again, the more options, there's more passageways and buildings for players to move through and build strategies from. But ultimately, the maps are in a fairly similar size to the previous. You're just seeing a lot more detail out of the Overwatch 2 engine. We have a lot of cool upgrades that allow us to do more while keeping a smooth performance. But Yeah, it's something we're constantly playing with, the scale of maps and how it feels to move through the space, visually as well as gameplay.
Finn from the 100. I love Finn. Finn was fucking incredible.
Almost right. We have sort of payloads sort of moving through underneath, and there are multiple levels here. This is not just sort of 2 levels here. There's even more options, I guess, to sort of make use of this verticality.
Good, this game doesn't even look like you're playing. Yeah. How is that?
Right high ground. There's so much going on here.
Yeah. I love this point in particular, like taking that middle high ground.
I'm a little disappointed. I thought they would have been further along. I mean, it really doesn't matter in the end. But when they're talking about good decisions, like when Jeff can come on camera and say, "Hey, we realized we're gonna reduce the amount of tanks. We realized maybe it's not a good idea for him to even specifically call out. Maybe it's not a good idea for McCree to not have flashbang, but he still does." What's the approval process on a good idea at Blizzard?
It's mostly just the tanks, and we don't have.
Like what stopped it from just being in this build a year ago when?
It's almost entirely just the tank change.
See, like I understand development takes a lot of time. I'm well aware development takes time, but design doesn't take any time because you just say a thing and then the thought of it is like, wouldn't that be good? And obviously, like, okay, yeah, well, what are we gonna replace McCree's flashbang with? They'd have to make it.
A lot of what
but like
sort of control snipers is the fact there's all these barriers.
I lost my own point.
As a Widow against a comp that is, like back in the day when it was like Wrecking Ball only or something like that, like you definitely are a lot more powerful. So
why come to the conclusion now that maybe McCree would have to have no flashbang if all this happens?
If unchecked, some certain
and not 2 years ago.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just yet another thing we got to keep an eye on with the change.
Why is the design as slow as the development?
I mean, we talk about how sort of tanks have changed now to sort of allow them to be more multi-purpose or sort of fill a broader spectrum of roles. Obviously, like, when you have a Reinhardt, you kind of know what the player is playing for, right? The shield.
What's wrong with the flashbang?
Space, right, you create space because the shield exists.
They were talking about it earlier.
Roadhog,
it's a lot to explain if you just take me at face value of like McCree's flashbang's fine. Then you only have one tank, and that one tank is getting 50% flashbang, like more of the time because there's only one tank target. Then you need to start removing CC from DPS heroes because tank heroes are the ones that should really have it.
About how tanks create spaces now. Obviously, all tanks have to be able to do that to some degree, regardless if
I don't know, maybe they just like didn't have the approval to do this much work on Overwatch 2 until later.
Also impacts new hero design.
Or they would have liked to have these changes, but
creating space and defending their team.
I don't know.
Certainly looking at.
I don't know, dude. How would I know anything? As
long
as they get there in the end, then it really doesn't matter. And then I'm just complaining that things weren't done faster when I don't even know how fast they're being done.
The hardest first, and then
but Overwatch has a long history of really stupid design decision that takes 2 years to revert. So it's more of like I'm just annoyed that I'm seeing evidence of the same thing continuing.
But you went for it.
And after Overwatch launches, if something is clearly not working as intended, then it'll be another 2 years before that's revisited.
Have a much faster hook way back in the day. Maybe we could bring that back, especially in a world where all the tanks are pretty aggressive. So it doesn't feel like.
Especially after they said now with the new experimental system, we'll be able to make changes much more quickly.
We had no opportunity to attack.
And at the time, I was saying, yeah, but you have to actually.
A lot of the tank
do it. Not much really came from that.
Can be just in the hero themselves now, because if you get to go in and be threatening, like with all this extra damage, and
really showing off his new solo tank here.
Space by existing.
What an animal.
Yeah.
Obviously, Super. I'm curious at your opinion here. Obviously, as someone who plays tank, right, and you'll play, main tank as we called it, or off tank. What is it that makes you sort of feel most powerful when you're playing tank? Right, because obviously all the heroes offer something so different, each of them. But could you narrow it down to something? What makes you feel like MTD feel?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it comes down to like decision making, right? And a lot of that currently is kind of based off of the fact of what your second tank is doing, which is obviously, no longer a thing because there's a removal. And I feel like this is really gonna have to rely a lot more on like your supports keeping you a lot more alive as opposed to like your off tank or secondary tank, being in coordination with you. Because the supports now, they only have to focus on.
That's a
on
lot
one
of
tank in
words.
particular.
Having one less tank
as
means the
opposed to,
other
you know, having
tank
to split it between two.
needs to survive.
And I feel like that's probably gonna have to give a lot
Okay.
more. Tanks are gonna have to play a lot more, I guess, assertive, because they can't really rely on their other tank to make the decisions for them, or like to, you know, help them out in that way.
Tanks are going to have to play as assertive as they would have had to have done before if they were playing correctly.
Their selection of tank really boils down to their capacity to deal damage. You know, like a lot of times, like you'll see them, right? You get these weird sort of Sigma Zarya comps, or you see like a lot of people just like playing Roadhog. That's their favorite tank because he does damage. You know, trying to make, you know, a player feel powerful on tank without just doing damage requires you to really think much more about game design.
Oh
So
my.
that's what I kind of wondered. Like, outside of just
Talking loud and who?
how do you sort of
Whose
balance the
word
tank to make
salad?
them feel powerful without just pumping
Who was
them
just
with
talking? I think it's super.
Yeah. I think that's probably a design philosophy that I'm maybe not qualified to talk about.
That's
I
actually
don't know, I mean-
because I wasn't actually asking you, but you can weigh in on it
Okay,
first.
yeah, I'll stop speaking. That's good. No, that's good. I'll stop speaking.
I'm curious what your
That's good.
opinion is. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of it's like we're talking about with just options, and like Super mentioned, like we're trying to make sure that, I mean, that's kind of the point of the Zarya change, is just giving her more flexibility and more options. So, I mean, it happens to be she also generates a crap load more energy and is way scarier, does more damage in this case. We may have to rein that in a little bit. She was already running out on that last.
Yeah, I'm happy they're actually asking them questions now and before it was like a
yeah, it's definitely
pubcast.
just trying to create really interesting playmaking opportunities and just strategic thought, and I think that's where a lot of
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize you see Mercy as healing you in part of the UI there.
exists, where it's,
I don't
you wanna
understand
just
why
put
it's like that
tanks,
close to the middle of your
probably
screen,
put
maybe to make
there. I don't
it a
think-
little bit more
I wouldn't
visible
like
for
to
you.
make any kind of like sniper tank out there or anything like that, because you know there's
That's
a lot
nice.
of other opportunities for that.
That's
We'd
just
like to
some
try to
little
keep
nice.
tanks, like I was mentioning with the crowd control changes. as an
My
example,
hit
we'd like
nose
to
is
keep
so
tanks
itchy.
being the ones who are primarily able to do crowd control, and that's also with only being one tank now, it means still there's going to be a lot less crowd control in the game in general, but still allow them to sort of flex that particular element.
Right, so you talk about obviously taking a little bit of that away from May, but obviously it's still something that, you know, you feel like you could include in the game. It almost feels like it's a more moderated approach to it now, because tanks can
I had an
be the
epiphany.
ones that bear a lot of that sort of crowd control potential. It just means that there's, you know,
Farah
one hero,
Farah design balance philosophy from the Blizzard dev team.
5 different forms of the
The
company.
logic must be now that there's one less tank and there's 2 supports, Farah will, much more likely than before even, have a Farah, have a Mercy tied to the Farah. So you can let Farah be dog shit on her own because another person's helping her, as it has always been, but even more so now, which is why you would never want to buff Farah,
It's a really big game changer if you land it.
because Mercy's a good character.
Up and you save it, try to keep an eye on him. And conversely, if you're
I
a
figured it
character
out.
who is really watching for, you know, like Reaper or something like that wants to get his ult up, but you want to make sure you're not going to get stunned. It's a lot easier to sort of track who's can stop you. You know, you're looking for their tank and looking for, rather than looking at the whole enemy team. It's kind of like when you're Zarya trying to ult and you're watching T-Bow really close, 'cause you don't wanna
I
have
think
it-
there will be less tank players now that there's going to be a really clear standout player that is, I think there will be more.
Nuts on Roadhog.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot now, so it wouldn't be hard to have more, but I also think the tanks having such an impactful and meaningful role and being stronger makes them more fun. That people will probably just want to play them more.
But it definitely feels like, you know, the weight of these weapons.
And even little tiny things like, okay, if you play Reinhardt, a lot of times you get booped around and it's really frustrating because of how the whole game works of stuns and lockdowns being pushed. And if they actually do nerf that and clamp down on it a lot,
Such a great job.
then Reinhardt is more fun, not just because there's only one tank. He's more fun because of every other change that made tank more fun. And then you look at,
Oh my god, it's fantastic.
there's only one tank on the other team, so there's only one shield. So there's only one thing that can, probably only one thing that can block Earth Shatter, like we just saw. He just walked up, they only have Roadhog, there's no shields. Reinhardt's a fucking monster. Double Fire Strike can cancel his shield charges. His shield is super powerful. This is really like, and what I want from it and why it sounds nice is that playing the tank feels like being the Saxton Hale. That you are the important, you just dictate shit. So like some people will probably be not want to play it because of the pressure and that they have to be playing better because the whole team will do better based on how well the tank does. But I think it'll also encourage more people to play it just because it'll be more fun.
You know, I feel like I'm almost sort of shifting in my seat as people are getting hit by stuff here as Doomfist lands punches. So much more visceral experience, right?
Oh yeah, I mean it adds so much. I mean, there's so much done to. I mean, I'm certainly not an audio guy, but I've talked to them a lot and what they've been working on. But they've been given the ability to create more accurate sounds in certain spaces. So like an indoor tighter area or an indoor wider area can have different sounds and get that sort of sound of things bouncing off the walls, and it's so
sound.
epic. And not only is
that's my issue. I loved being a side tank.
Like weapons and getting shot at, but like
couldn't handle the pressure being main tank.
You feel more connected, like you're actually in that space, just the way.
Yeah.
Makes me not want to play tank. Well, you already didn't want to play tank. Do you see what you're saying? That I loved being not the tank. I couldn't handle the pressure of being the tank. I still don't want to play the tank. That nothing changed for you.
When you're fighting for your life with 9 other people. Superman, I mean, naturally, you know, these are changes that, you know, some of them you thought about before, obviously having played so much tank, and maybe you wish for some of these, and you know, I'd love to get some of your final thoughts here on sort of how tank is going to feel and heading into Overwatch 2, as I'm sure you'll be strapped in and playing.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I have to get a chance to play it first, but based on what I've seen, it looks like you know, tank's gonna have.
Also, I think players are.
Pressure, I feel
I'm gonna let him talk.
More of a role to play because you know you don't really have that second tank to help you out and you know kind of help clean up your mistakes, if you will. Like, you know, if you get hooked, you get a bubble or matrix or, you know, whatever it may be. So I feel like in general, it looks like tanks are going to have to play a lot smarter. But you do get the plus side of having both supports only focus on you as opposed to having two. So I think it'll be interesting.
Okay. He didn't say anything. So there's one tank. If there's one tank and they're removing CC abilities from DPS, which they should, because tanks should be the CC characters. So there's not too much CC. There's just one guy going around CCing stuff and setting up fights for everybody else. So tanks, I'm putting them here. Tanks, CC. Then you have DPS characters. You might have never heard this term before. DPS, damage per second. They're the damage dealers. Most of the time in Overwatch, those would be the tanks. But I think they're making a little bit of an effort. You know, damage dealers, they're not going to have flashbangs, so they're not supports. Ideally, you know, if they're smart, this isn't an optimistic ideal world. So damage dealers, just going to deal some damage. So you take some support abilities away from damage dealers, like the healing field that Soldier has. Like, why does he have that? Flashbang, why does he have that? And then here's this. You give these to support characters. And then when you're like, I just want to play an off tank. Okay, so what you do? You support the tank. You see those words? You see how those words line up? I want to support the tank. It's crazy, because characters like Zarya that have bubbles that they put on people, they should be fucking supports. And they just gotta hope Blizzard notices that. And then you could play off tank with a tank. Right? Or there's gonna be new characters, and ideally there's a new like healer that kind of plays a little bit like Zarya, puts shields on things. Of course, I think the most one-to-one example currently is Baptiste, who can throw down the "you can't die" on a tank. Like, if you're just following the tank around and supporting the tank, and I think players probably are going to make a like tank support role that they're going to create themselves the way off tank wasn't a real role, but people assumed that's how the game is supposed to be played. There's probably going to be a tank support that players dictate themselves and it becomes meta. And then all the people that are like, oh, I really like playing off tank, you're just going to play tank support.
A bunch of guys are part of Overwatch now, so they have access to cooler tech in their outfits. It's just, we're having fun kind of like in a way to show these guys have upgraded their equipment. They're ready to do battle in this new world. Fire
Crazy?
with their new Overwatch gear.
Does it sound crazy?
She has the armor that fits the Overwatch team.
Oh shit, dude, that's Farah's new armor. That makes her have less health than fucking McCree.
As well.
I can't believe they update like a whole new. Feeling good. May's coat is a little bit stronger, I think.
I mean, you know, I love that you kind of this is cheeky. You're kind of teasing little bits of the story or how the world changes out as we go. So that's just, you know, building my appetite up to sort of see more about how the world is changing and what all these heroes are up to. I mean, you see, obviously, Widowmaker's got a change of hairstyle as well.
Why I keep saying no one else can shield or block Shatter? I'm saying only one tank will be able to block Shatter.
I think it was sort of mentioned that there's sort of new tech available.
Like, it could be Reinhardt versus Sigma, then Sigma could stop it. But it's not going to be Orisa and Sigma that you have to worry about both of them.
Yeah, we have a lot of cool.
Unless supports get shields, and they probably should. They should get the mini shields like Symmetra used to have.
A lot of better detail. The character's skin feel more natural.
And I would be surprised if they didn't.
Awesome shader, and you know, it's still stylized, but it just feels much more real, almost like you could touch it. This is in the environments as well. There's tons of nice detail. We've upgraded the lighting engine, so shadows are better. All these things are just to make the world feel much more immersive, more dynamic, and more animated things in the world. The characters have the cool tech gear and details that we weren't able to do before until we kind of tuned some knobs in the engine, and so we're subtly playing with this, maintaining Overwatch style, keeping the game performance smooth, but you know, upgrading everything to the Overwatch 2 level.
I'm curious about like the new upgrades to the skins and like just the heroes themselves. And you guys have all this.
Shouldn't Orisa's shield work? Dude, there's some chatters that are like really like painfully left far behind. Like, I'm driving a bus and everyone's in their seat, but the back door opened on the school bus and no one had their seatbelts on, and they're all like broken legs, and I feel like this is one of those situations where I'm just gonna hit the pedal to the metal and like act like I didn't see. Okay.
Our team is working hard to kind of create a workflow that's easier for the artists, but it's still there's a level of work there. But everything you see on these new 2.0 heroes, the updated hair shaders, updated skin, detail maps, these will all carry over to the older heroes or the older skins. So a lot of stuff looks even better than it.
Yo, who the fuck is Cupcake?
There's a bit of work there to build some of the new boots to those guys, but it's a beautiful upgrade to practically everything.
I was wondering if it's because I don't know, because I don't watch a lot of Overwatch anymore or like pay attention anymore.
Is it going to be possible to like add more customization like with this new technology, like unlocking different like color schemes or something like that, or like special weapon variations, even for like certain achievements or something like that, so we have more ways to customize?
Oh, no. We just want... Jeff Kaplan has left the team, but we're using his long... Well, I need to hear the answer.
You have to wait and see.
Before I meme it. Oh, you have to wait and see. Oh, okay, that's... Okay. We kicked Jeff Kaplan off the team because he famously said you should not reward people for playing competitive. What instead you should do is give them the same fucking spray that has a Roman numeral on it every season. Fuck, dude. I gotta go back and play some Overwatch competitive. I think this league, I'm missing out on the Roman numeral, like, 25 on Ilios background. I gotta get in that shit.
There's a lot of fun stuff in store. Yeah.
You do have something new to show
It's like my
us,
favorite
though.
part is the visual, so.
Well, speaking of which,
I can tell from their smile, you know, they got some good cosmetics. If they don't have, like... And they showed this technology, like, accidentally once in a trailer at some point, where the player character, the skin the character had and the skin the weapon were different. I can't remember when that happened, but everyone was like, oh shit, dude, are they gonna actually like let you swap guns? The answer was no. So I hope they have that in their pocket and let you change it and give you rewards for playing the PvE mode, so you can basically man versus machine it and have a reason to keep playing so that you can get things. Because if that doesn't exist, no matter how good PvE is, people are just gonna stop after a week or two.
I mean, some of the changes are big, right? They're vibrant, and obviously, you know, you can definitely see the
Skins, they have already confirmed a while back your skins transfer to Overwatch 2.
the connectors between the hardware that he's using, the goggles that he
And
has,
your skins also transfer over to Path of Exile too.
attitude from him. Very
So if you have like the Santa Torbjorn, yeah, you can play that build.
to life.
And we want to upgrade the characters, but we don't want to lose that silhouette that's familiar to players. He still looks
The shaky camera, I am like wiggle. I'm like,
he just
I don't know.
better and more detailed up close, but he maintains that silhouette we come to know and love and like to shoot at.
It's funny because I can barely tell.
That's,
Because whenever my camera wiggles, I'm like wiggling my desk so it just looks normal. My hair though?
On his pack there looks great.
Right.
Too. Smoke coming off.
Yeah, it's a serious modernization of not just obviously how his skins look, but how he behaves
In the
game,
back?
how he interfaces.
The
with
fuck?
world.
What are you talking about?
Let's shift gear here and talk a little bit more
Behind
about
my
the next
headphones?
map.
What?
Rome was teased at BlizzCon Online, right? We've got these beautiful panoramas, this Colosseum.
I see it, Cowlick?
This sort of future Rome, but that's obviously.
Is it when I don't
coming up
fucking...
next, and it is a push map. So I want to talk a little bit more about how a push map is actually developed, right? The newest game type to the game gives some really unique situations to play through.
Oh man, my wife's judging me.
Assume, right? Like there has to be some symmetry to the map. I'm sure is that sort of
right.
You a VTuber now? Yeah. Again, anyone who hasn't watched me for several years who is here right now, I am a VTuber. I am the frog, the person beneath me. I just mind control to speak my words because frogs can't talk. I don't have the vocal cords.
Layout to the battle. In Rome, you'll see it's kind of a C. You kind of cut through the Colosseum.
Oh, I see it.
It becomes tighter when you reach the robot. Once you see
I
the
see it.
players
Whatever,
play.
man.
This one was where we really found a way. Okay, this is how we make iterations on push. At first, the S curve was an easy one to go to. It's make the map snake through buildings and things. But how do we switch it up for a different space? And we knew we wanted to make Rome. We knew we wanted to go through the Colosseum. So that's kind of part of the initial design for this version, the push map. But it's a very fun mode, especially on in Rome. I think the thematic.
I think 2CP is for sure gone.
Robot kind of enhances
I
how
think.
fun this game type is.
It's such a crazy juxtaposition.
How long has it been away since I got a new hero? Year and a half.
That is obviously known to us, and sort of thinking about how the passage of time might change it. I want to know, you mentioned the first thing you mentioned, Dion, I feel like was that like it's very competitive as a result of that symmetry. And you guys as the developer team,
got kids?
have had a good chance to see how so many of these maps play out at the highest competitive level. So
Most likely, thank you for subbing.
Overwatch League a factor when you're sort of considering a game type or a map design like this. How often do you think, like how the players could break this, or they're gonna sort of.
How often do you think about your game design? Question posed by Uber.
I think yeah, for sure.
Yeah, not very often. Yeah, I think like most days I wake up and I just show up to the office. Well, not anymore because of Corona. So I just kind of wake up, turn my computer on, clock in, and then just crank a few out.
As much as the Overwatch teams, the Overwatch League teams do.
I didn't think they'd say it like
that. They will find that stuff fast and abuse even the smallest things. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely, as far as like the specific layout, we're looking at all that stuff quite a bit. But especially when we're developing a new mode, it's very much taken into account how competitive it's going to be. And as was brought up earlier, based on the rule set, we want to make sure if we can avoid it, we want to avoid any kind of tie situation. This mode certainly prevents that. And then, as Aaron was talking about earlier, like we were debating whether or not this should be like kind of easy to push to the end, and then you get a point, and then the other team can maybe it's multiple rounds, and each push is 1 point. But then it's like you get in that potential tie situation, and you lose some of that sort of epic tension of pushing it those last little bits and people fighting over those little bits of space. So I think we're very cognizant of that, especially with new modes, thinking about how they're going to be played and competitive.
We had so many matches that came down to 2-3 meters. This is such a fun, just you feel good even losing. You're like, that was a great battle because it felt like we fought really hard for those last 2-3 meters.
This map is genetically engineered for play-by-play casters. I like that. More opportunities for us to just yell nonsense. We're gonna jump in and check this one out. We got a bunch more questions. I'm sure Cupcake you do as well here. But I mean, first impression is wow. This is an incredible vista.
Beautiful.
Oh, that actually is really nice. Fuck, dude.
Absolutely stunning stuff. We talked about, you know, Dion, you mentioned like the S shapes.
Fuck, dude.
But it looks like there's some twists and turns here. It's almost like the path overlaps itself as well at some points.
It does. There's a little bit of C shape, and then there's this bridge overpass that's pretty fun to encounter. I think.
Fuck,
I'm
dude.
curious to see how this battle plays out once the players get to the overpass.
6-man victory
Yeah, I feel like
screen?
the two
What?
big features on this map, and we'll see it
whatever.
right away. Is the first one is right.
Maximus. Oh, dude, Zephyrus. Yo, which hero are we getting? We getting Zephyrus?
Or the bot starts, and
art is cringe. I agree.
You know, it kind of like looks sort of simple in basic geometry, but is like the subtlety there is because it's got a slight curve to it the whole time. It's so amazing, and you can see certain of these are blocked off and certain of them are open as far as in between the pillars. And that was actually iterated on quite a bit. I remember opening them up, closing them. In fact, you see the top.
My biggest gripe with the push game mode is, dude, my biggest gripe with the King of the Hill game mode is that it takes longer than 2 CP. I think we should shorten it.
But we didn't want to close it off entirely, so that one section was sort of everyone's favorite right away in playtesting, and then.
What did any of those comments have to do with each other? Like what?
Right.
So we'll see it here.
What am I? How is my brain linking these things?
Does not go unnoticed. By the
That's
way.
related.
The duration of the bubble remaining being shown on the HUD is
All right, we've got Robot Angel coming in from the side, using the ultimate. Very, very powerful when coming in from the side.
It actually reduces line of sight, right? So you can.
What map is this? Did they call it Colosseum or Rome? It's one of those.
Tweak, you know, has balance implications that I'm sure you've thought about.
Oh yeah, they name maps after cities.
Because me and
True.
both support mains. I think something we're definitely gonna be.
When's Zen gonna get a dash?
It's not just Zenyatta's HUD that's gotten a
Give
change,
everyone a
right?
dash.
It seems like every sport looks a little bit different when it comes to the HUD and some of those abilities that interact with teammates.
Yeah, which like this, even the Zen placement of the orbs, it's so much better. Like more in the middle rather than having it on this side.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's really nice. I've noticed like the little.
Early on, they said, okay, we've only got, you know, 1 tank slot, and a couple of characters are disabled during this, what we're showing you, because they don't quite fit in yet, and we had to, you know, we have to do more work to them, and we're not ready to put them back in yet. What the fuck is Diva doing on tank? That you still think she's a tank character, and she's not up for, like, hey, we need to spend some more time making Diva a tank. How is she just here? And not part of that list.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you throw one, you don't know who it hit, like because there's so much going on. You're like, okay, I definitely stepped someone, but I'm not sure who it was. That might be important to know.
That's my favorite part. You sleep against you accidentally with a blade, and someone just wakes them up because they have no idea that you sort of slept them, right?
Exactly. Oh no.
And obviously, you as a player get indication if Mercy is healing or damage boosting you, right? Obviously, your screen sort of, on live, your screen sort of takes on like a sort of a very slight non-intrusive glow. But it seems here you've also.
I think they're done asking questions. Any more questions for streamer?
Also the case with like.
I feel like this is
Nano Boost, for example.
probably the last map they're gonna play and show and talk about. It feels like,
We've actually changed it.
I don't know, how long has this been going?
I don't think we have.
Yeah, but this is definitely the last one.
But in general, there's like
They don't have much
big
left to
passes
add.
across, I mean, really across the team. I mean, you can see the skin. passes
Favorite
and
flavor of ice cream? Oh my god.
cool, skin
Good
changes
question.
and the tech we're getting, and then there's also VFX updates. Look at the VFX changes we're making in sound, of course. So it's kind of just awesome.
I have a
being,
filling breakfast this
like,
morning.
Even if I'm not directly, working on that stuff. Just
I had
seeing that stuff
4
as
eggs
it's
scrambled,
sad,
mushrooms
seeing
with
that
Munster cheese.
Seeing all the changes.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure your inbox is sort of swarmed with them.
And green peppers.
Look, it was mentioned at BlizzCon Online as well that sort of the assault game mode. Sort
How's
of
programming going?
wouldn't be
Pretty
something
good.
maps developed for, right? The focus would no longer sort of be on that.
Pretty good.
Know what the sort of thought process is between sort of the removal of assault, or 2CP as it's fondly known, and the addition of push here.
Am I always on the human's head? No,
So
only when I'm
that-
streaming.
That has a long history, actually. Probably most of the people who really follow
I
the
don't
game
know when
are
it's
still
happening
aware of it.
still,
We've-
but coming up in the future, we still have a
honestly,
stream where we need to
Salt Lake 2CP is
cosplay
all-
as Momo,
A lot of people had a lot of concerns with it,
which
and
apparently
we
is
tried to make
is
a lot of
close. I
changes.
asked her about it
In
yesterday,
fact, what
and there was just
people
a
might
hold
not
up
know
on
is,
her end of
we've
the
gone through multiple
cosplay trade.
phases of, like, a heavy overhaul of it, but none of them
That
ever
she's
really
seeing
good
if she
enough
can
to
get done.
go even to experimental card, honestly. We
So
tried-
if
we
you've
tried,
ever
like,
wanted to see what
one
Ster
time we
would
had
look like as a
redesign
cat
to
girl,
join,
that's
and
in the
one of
near
first things we
future.
gave him was like, overhaul 2CP. What do you want to do?
And
It was like,
Momo is going to
the hardest problem
cosplay as
ever
one of
to
my
solve
D&D
it,
characters,
guy.
Guy.
It's like, oh, that's kind of rough.
So we're
actually,
just gonna
in
like we
retrospect.
decided we're
But,
doing a
so,
trade.
you know, we've got a lot of
I am
changes.
definitely on the losing end of the bargain,
It got to the point where we were like, we'd have to make so many changes to get this.
but I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be really funny.
And at that point, if we're getting to that degree, why don't we just make a different mode?
Yeah, let's make.
No, it won't be funny. I think I'm gonna look hot. You know what? I think a lot of you guys are gonna come to that stream and you're gonna be like, I'm coming to the stream for some laughs, but you're gonna leave with a boner.
So that's kind of
Okay.
You're trying to say that there's other modes in development. Are you trying to?
You're gonna leave thinking, you know what? He actually pulled it off.
I would say that we are constantly experimenting with new modes, but they're experimentation right now.
How crazy?
New York was.
Sorry, Dion, please.
Sick.
Oh, sorry. New York was. We experimented a lot with New York. Before
Why would I leave with the boner? It won't go down.
It seems like
And-
so many possibilities for that.
You're like, I finished an hour ago, but I just can't stop thinking about it. It won't go
When we
down.
first showed that at
It's like one of those
BlizzCon,
Viagra
the
commercials.
shipping version actually changed,
I am
to try to fix 2CP.
the
even
living,
back,
breathing incarnation
when it
of
first came out.
Viagra,
Yeah.
So
which is what we
actually
talk
shared-
over this
shared
Overwatch 2
information
gameplay with.
The game was pretty different from the choke point standpoint
And then,
to try to address some of the 2CP
in the
challenges.
somewhat near
So-
future,
We just left that spot in the map.
I'm hoping to get Myriad, like another season of it started soon. I think it, when I say soon, my current estimation, my current plan for life, which I have not like laid out, I'm finally making some like steady progress, and that we might be back to it at
Yeah, it, like, goes
I think I am going to visit Moon at the end of July,
so you go under,
and then
this gives you
after that
right and
trip,
then
I
back
would like
across
to
over. So,
start getting the wheels
it is,
rolling
like,
on getting
really
players
interesting point to play.
for a
In fact, when we were
game,
first playing it,
and then streaming that
remember
game and getting
we had
things
our first
rolling.
feedback session where it was like,
It'll be different players,
like
but the
this or
same
not? It's kinda
campaign,
amazing or
slightly
it's
different,
terrible?
because I don't have
It's
time to
like-
get a new
like,
campaign
it's
completely ready yet, and I want to run the same one again with the new mechanics and the new system that's like a bajillion times better now to get a feel for it. And then while that campaign's running, I'm going to start working on the other campaign for the old players.
After a lot of iteration, it's
I haven't officially asked anybody to play in the new campaign yet, but
There's a lot of drama there.
the flanks you can flank.
I got
from
some people in mind. I think it'll be
to
good.
drop down below, 'cause you have to
I'm
go
excited
under
for
this
it.
pass.
It'll be nice to
If
be
you
back.
sit in the middle of that pass as Reaper or something like that and just drop down. Of course, you got to worry about gonna be jumping up on you or something.
I will
It's like a little wall
probably
you
ask
climb over
Momo.
there.
I will probably ask Baru.
Climb or grapple or something.
And
So it's just like this, when you're going
there's a
through
few
that,
other
it
people I
doesn't
have
stop
in
you
mind.
playing enough.
I think
Under
they'll
that
probably
pass is
play.
the most, like,
Probably, a lot of probablys.
anxiety-inducing spot. It's just like-
I feel like I should get
it's, like,
Octo
calm for a while
as
at
well.
first, 'cause, like, you know, after
I mean, a
fighting,
dude
you're
plays
like,
150
down, so
sets with you
okay, what
in
is about
Guilty
to
Gear.
happen here? Where are they gonna be
I
coming
think
from?
I owe him.
It's like
There's a
super
sneaky little
stressful.
alleyway in there too, a tiny one.
Shore for Ashley. They've literally already played the campaign, but you know,
Reaper 76.
good suggestions nonetheless.
So it's
Fun
like
encounters.
Gibraltar, right? You go through that first little underpass, and you just
We'll see who else.
Too quiet, you know that
Yeah,
someone's
right.
gonna show up and clap you.
Germa could still guest star. He was supposed to guest star in the last one for like an episode or two, but it was a lot harder to coordinate that sort of stuff than I thought it was originally going to be.
It's huge. Like you'd have to sort of switch comms almost.
So I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but it's possible. Oh, they're posting
Oh yeah.
dicks in the Overwatch 2 chat.
I love all the like
It's the
architecture in it. I was fascinated when I was watching
the
it.
Among Us character laying down with his
Bring
dick up,
this
I
online
think.
on it, and I would
Okay, you guys are
love to get
missing
in
out on
there
this.
and like just go explore it and look around and
Classic.
figure out like what
Classic.
the best way to go about this is, because there's a lot to it. It's a little confusing, like looking at it from like this perspective.
But yeah, things are heating
I'm
up.
sure once you get in there and you actually
And then
play it, it makes
one
a lot more
day,
sense,
Overwatch 2 will come out, and I don't know, it looks fun. I don't know how long I'll play it. Look fun.
You definitely have the feeling of like hecticness. You know, sort of around the ball.
Must have seen that Ster cosplay.
It's like a game mode that's catered to like giving these like adrenaline sort of pumping moments of overtime. Right?
I don't even know, man.
Oh yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of overtime moments.
I individually tried all the stuff on for the outfit, and so like not even I understand.
All these buildings you can go in. So many
I don't know how to, like, what's an adjective to use.
Explore. That seems like a way more intense
Exactly.
design process.
Yeah.
How awful? How good?
You cannot leave a stone unturned.
How
Sort of turn
intense
the screen to, you know,
it is.
vibrant like this.
Dick to body ratio. Oh, you went there.
There it is.
So cool.
Right, that was your first look of obviously at some gameplay on Rome. A beautiful map, and my God, yeah, I really think that those shot callers out there are going to have to be thinking a mile a minute just how they can take advantage of the sort of topography of the map as it sort of changes. Really exciting stuff. I mean, we already sort of got a feel for the game mode, but it's crazy just how different. I don't know if you feel the same, Cupcake, how different this feels from Toronto, even though it's the same game type, but the map sort of changes the feel and the flow so much.
It does, yeah. It definitely feels a lot different. I don't play at like a high end like skill level, so I'm curious how it's gonna work on somebody on like my level. Like I'm like the average Overwatch player, you know. I'm not like top 500. I'm not GM. Like I'm plat. You know, a lot of my Overwatch experience as a support. Like I solo queue.
I hate this.
Support. You know, like the struggle is real. And so my experience is like, you know, I have my
I hate that you need to clarify that you are not the top 1% of people, and your perspective that you're conveying to the 22,000 people watching this on the main channel. You need to let them know that you're different because you're the same as them. I hate that.
Experiencing. Hey, really quickly,
So y'all know how I feel, okay?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, you're in good company. I'll make no bones about it.
I hate that
Like,
too. All right.
That was incredible.
Cool.
Thank you, Jeff and Dion, for walking.
Yo, chat. What is plat chat?
Vibrant sort of overlook, and then we were straight into that. I really love just the juxtaposition of sort of the futuristic tech plus a
Do they do it on a stream?
location.
Is it just a podcast now? Why don't I know?
One more map to show every
I know like the meme plat chat, but there's like a
more to come. A new map, an in-depth look that you haven't heard anything about.
how popular is it?
So stick around for more.
What channel is it on?
VP developer live stream.
I'm curious. I was hanging out with them, and like they always like bring up plat chat here, and I'm like, oh, yeah, cool that you're doing that. Yeah, what? I've never seen it. I feel like I should see it to be like, that, and then not watch it. You know what I mean? Plat chat channel on Twitch or on YouTube? A plat chat. Well, known fact, Ster isn't like the other girls. True. True. It's actually true. Okay, not the boys. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. They chat. I thought there would be more in-person boys. It's just Sideshow just being the main show. That's not what his name is. Then why do they call it? Brenna's taking a break? Okay. Yeah, alright. I don't know, man. I'm confused. Clever setup there. It's pretty funny. Okay. The Discord link in your Twitch page don't work. Are you telling me the truth right now? This guy telling me the truth right now?
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. What's up? It's your boy, #1 Overwatch.
Content creators that dropped by the stream. It was a ton of fun to have them. Back to the original crew though. As I know a lot has changed, obviously.
They lied to ban him.
PvP from, I mean, a lot changed with Overwatch 1's PvP throughout the eternity, but
oh, it tries to go to twitch.tv/discord. What?
I guess for the players at home now, like, you know, what can the expectations be? You know, obviously, like you guys have mentioned, a lot of this is still work in progress.
Yeah, that's a great.
That's weird.
It's a great point to bring
Why?
up, and I think it's important to recognize.
No matter what,
really
wait.
Excited about a lot of the changes that we're making to the game. I think there's probably a lot of people
Okay.
who are watching the stream.
Stop talking. No matter what I write in the Discord link, it tries to go to. What? I think I gotta. Oh, I figured it out. Chat. Don't. I understand. I know what I'm doing. Chat. You're plat. I am Grandmaster. You guys wouldn't get it. Okay, it works now. Thank you, chatter, for letting me know that my thing didn't work. I don't know what we're gonna do now. That was the, I'm pretty sure the end of their stream. They were just wrapping up and saying, wasn't it so great that we had a stream today? And you know, I agree. I'm glad that they actually just showed something. It's been a long time. I don't know if I have anything else that I want to do today. In recap, hey, I just joined the stream. They removed one tank from the game. So it's a 5v5. They removed one tank role. There's only one tank, and tanks are better for it. And I like the change a lot. Too Long Didn't Read like the change a lot. If you want my like actual opinions, then you would spend the time to go back in the VOD, probably, maybe. But just Too Long Didn't Read. I've been asking for that, or suggesting that that is probably a really good way and a direction to push the game for a couple years now, so I'm on board. And then, yeah, other than that, there wasn't really anything unexpected. A toad on your head? Nah, it's me. 2 hours telling us 5 and 6 are different numbers. True. True. Fuck, that's how you know you have like nothing left when you just stand there and blankly stare at the screen and say true a few times. Think we finally get the map editor? No. Definitely not. I think all of the stuff that they added to the game that makes making maps more complicated with the new engines, lighting, and all the bells and whistles that they brought in to make maps themselves upgrade it within the new engine. I mean, it might be possible that they had the opportunity reworking the engine to make the map editor like plan ahead for a map editor. But they've been talking about that for such a long time that I think this would be a weird time for them to release it. I mean, it would be a good time for them to release it. I just don't expect the work to be done on it. It looked like CP Orange. Probably. I think more so of, what were those? The Halo map editor? You just like drag and drop objects. It would be like really limited. A lot of people do play CP Orange. It's true. I know down the road they want to do that. I just don't think it'll be ready yet. If it is, that'd be cool. Really wish you could mod Overwatch. I mean, you basically can. I know what you're saying, but something on my floor. Wish you could have hit sounds. Game sucks until it has hit sounds. That's a fact. They're about to play the last map now. Oh, I thought they were super done. I was about to go watch some fucking Cupcake.
towards like how you guys can change like verticality, levels of terrain, really, you know, empower certain heroes or certain roles to really kind of take advantage of that.
We're definitely doing that.
I just don't expect anything anymore.
A lot of the Overwatch 2 maps have features in them that we haven't built before. Everyone just got to look at Rome, and we have that sort of like switchback section in it, or like the loop section, and that was something we tried 3 or 4 times over the entire course of Overwatch development, and we're just never.
I gotta say though, I like these kind of streams.
We feel like we finally cracked
It's fun to watch thing and come to educated opinion thought. It's just there hasn't. There's been like 2 opportunities to do this for Overwatch, a game I actually know well, like 2 times in 3 years. It feels like. That's an over-exaggeration.
It kind of just speaks to some of the changes that we're willing to
Not
make,
much going on
with this game in order to introduce new gameplay and to have it feel fresh and vibrant for players.
Yeah,
the deets on this frog. So I had a lipoma in my side, which is like fatty benign tissue that's growing in your side. I had removed. Gross. Okay, weird story. Why does this relate to the frog? So when I had that removed, I just stopped being funny. So everyone in my chat realized that like I wasn't actually funny. It was the lump of flesh in me that got removed that was funny. And so ever since then, I've been trying to claw back some relevancy, trying to feel, I don't know, like I matter. And that's when I put on the frog. And I was like, this makes up for it, right?
And Eichenwald's a great example of it, but of rising through a map. But this one doesn't have a large structure in the middle of it, so you're going.
And now the frog just tells me what to say.
All open.
And I say it.
And so there's a lot more interplay between the 2 teams as they're trying to push out.
I have a lumpy lump in my knee area that I got x-rayed today, and they don't know what it is. Is it that? Well, no, see, they knew what mine was, and it wasn't in my knee. And,
when you have like the kind of car going,
yeah, yours sounds like a hernia. I think that's like your intestine poking out of your knee a little bit.
your kind of checkpoint how they would.
If I'm not a doctor, but if I had to guess.
Yeah, you see this. So this first point is really interesting.
Was there anything to worry about?
A lot of people is where
no.
we'll see Zarya
this is removed like
a solo tank. Like you can play
4
so many different ways, right?
4 or 5 years ago.
I've seen people play like really close up by like some of these staircases, a little bit further back. You can play the.
I got a little scar, dude. It was like an annoying thing that I thought was really the cause of other unrelated health issues that I started to have at the time.
Yeah,
you can see the
So I went to a lot of different doctors to try and get it figured out and like get it removed, do whatever I had to do, and it was like such a long. See this guy, see this guy, see this guy. Oh, we don't know what it is. We're gonna get you an MRI, like an actual fucking full MRI. I'm in there. Okay, there it is. Okay, great. What are we doing about it? I don't know. See this guy. Then I finally got to the last guy on the totem pole. I walked in the office and said, yeah, I got this thing here. They took an MRI. And he was like, oh, yeah, lay on the table. I'll take it out right now. I was like at that point, it's like, what? There's no way. How many fucking hoops I've jumped through? There's no way. That sounds crazy. I was even like, I don't know. I might have to think about that. He's like, no, really, it's not a big deal. Just lay down. I'll do it real quick. It'll take like 5 minutes. Laid down. Took like a minute. Showed it to me. I was like, hey, this was it. Done. So if you find yourself in a similar situation, just find that guy who's like, oh, lipoma. Yeah, that's like a normal thing that happens sometimes. Yeah, I could take it out if you want. Did you keep it? Nah, he probably did. He was really interested in it.
And so when you do start making these wider areas, it becomes very difficult to
lower my chair.
And it gets
that's as low as it goes.
Very long sight lines.
Probably on eBay. Yeah, maybe.
It no longer really feels like an Overwatch map anymore because we really try to control those.
That was a fun story. That was a fun little. Yeah, but then I stopped being funny. And people didn't like me anymore.
And so much of that is about controlling sight lines and then also presenting like difficult areas for a team to push through. Oh, this is the hilly section.
How much do you think that costs on eBay? I think it's illegal to do that, but
like there's a sniper perch up
$10 max.
right-hand side if we're looking at it. But yeah, just this poses so many different obstacles.
You were funny to begin with.
Teams, but I also
How long you been following? 2013.
you see right now, playing the Zarya, but, like,
I was gonna say maybe you didn't know beforehand, but you definitely know, and that's why you've been around for like several hundred years. You know I used to be funny. You know you only came back for the fucking frog.
That change is pretty new.
You can see from a visual standpoint that when making a payload map, they're pretty large maps for an Overwatch space. So we want the visuals to kind of change as players complete objectives.
I peeked right now.
The world looks different to them. You know, it was flat before, and then
I peeked at watching Overwatch.
And they'll move into the hotel.
Team 1 against Team 2. Curly mustache on the sniper.
Completing objectives. You feel like you're making progress through the map because the world around you is somewhat changing as it goes.
Shit.
Kind of like Dorado almost. Like if you were to kind of think of a map from the live game where you kind of start through that choke area, it goes towards that high ground, and then you have that like interior. And the interior for this map is one of the cooler things that I've seen.
Man, I wish I banned people.
Hopefully we'll get
I wish I streamed enough to have banned a whole bunch of people. Because I actually like whenever streamers do the like ban reviews. That's good content.
It's really kind of like this
I don't like ban anybody anymore, and no one watches, so no one requests to be unbanned. Like once they're banned, they're gone. It's like okay, whatever. Bring Mute back, dude. I was paying him $10,000 a day. I can't bring him back.
The way that the game has changed a little bit. The presence or the importance of
I barely even know how to use that feature.
Really can't be understated.
Didn't you unban a ton of people? I unbanned
trying to give more
everyone.
to teams,
Every once in a while, I just type unban all.
Like conflict points in some of these maps
because
going to control that
most of the time when you ban people,
yeah, no, I think obviously
like an hour later, you'd be like, man, fuck, I really shouldn't have.
High ground is always kind of the go-to.
But banning for content is, man, I should.
You know, multiple players take high ground, whether it's like a Hanzo, like we just saw there, like with the wall climb or Widow.
Ban that guy.
Like a multi-tiered level.
Oh, everyone's being pretty cool.
To kind of have some access of high ground, which brings into play, I know Ana really kind of effective here at the high ground with the grenades as we see the payload kind of go over the line, and you know, the car will go inside of the
I mean, everyone's stupid.
I've seen a few cars inside
every once in a while.
They're usually not moving though. I think
Just depends if you saw him do it or not.
Maybe they're moving, but that's just from my point of view.
What are we watching? I just tuned in. It's pretty much over. They were showing new changes for Overwatch 2 and talking about some of the design philosophies going forward to what they want to have on release. And most of the interesting parts are over, so it's just like the final map of them playing on new maps that I don't think they've shown before with some of the changes. But really, the main change is that it's a 5v5 and there's only one tank per team.
But it makes it so hard. It just kills the level designers on the project trying to get people up to high ground because it takes a lot
Pigo Pago.
in order to do it.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a really interesting point that I guess
Yeah, they talked a lot about character changes they want to do, but they haven't actually done any of them, which is weird. I feel like when you want to do them and it's a numerical change, you just do it. But it's not me.
Keep movement predictable.
Is this really enough to justify a new game?
Really, like, kind of difficult to overcome a really steep staircase. It's almost like
fuck, dude. Do I leave the chatters behind? Do I explain to them that you don't need to buy the game to play the PvP?
Space and kind of develop a mental 3D image of where everything's going, of what the space is actually going to be like outside of their view, and it's easier to do that with shallower stairs. It's also easier to push up
shock them
staircase and a higher staircase, and like lastly, just the way that a lot of games character physics.
So the more people that there are, the easier it is to hit the gas. And the easier it is to identify that I'm holding up a bus full of X number of people for one guy. However, that one guy in the Overwatch community, or not the Overwatch community, the people who show up to Overwatch streams and ask the question, seems to be like everyone. like 80% of people that don't play the game that are confused why it's called Overwatch 2. And that they don't want to pay $60. Fuck Blizzard. I'm never buying a Blizzard game after what they did to Blitzchung. Oh, Blitzchung's playing Hearthstone competitive again. Okay.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. Besides, we are moving away from 2CP.
A trail of broken kids. What the fuck? Yeah. No, I agree. Broken kids. Yeah, I agree.
One of the cool things about this map that
Am I allowed to being angry and not want to pay $60 for this? Yeah, but Overwatch 1 was never $60, and I know you're being I know it's a big kappa.
Yeah, curly mustache rotating around. And it's
But it actually was the same thing when Overwatch first came out. A whole bunch of people were like, why would I pay $60 for a game that only has multiplayer and no story? And it was $40, right? Or like they had the other pack that was like, the deluxe was like 40 and the actual game was like 20. I can't remember on launch. But now that we're at Overwatch 2, why would I pay $60 for a game that has multiplayer and single player? It's like the complete opposite.
We think this one's fair. We've gone back and forth on this one.
When also the price isn't confirmed and you don't have to buy it again.
Hopefully this one's fair.
40, 60, yeah, that's what it was. Hey, anybody who bought the deluxe edition, are you happy that you have those 4 skins?
Questions from Twitter.
You happy about your 4 skin?
Polling and just kind of just really, I think, things that people are interested in.
$20 for like 4 of the least used skins in the game. Actually, yes. I mean, I bought it. I'm not disappointed, but it's, you know, when you consider that you get every skin in the game for free by playing the game, and you bought 4 of them for $20, you kind of got screwed, man.
Now that we've gone over a lot of what we've been working on,
But I don't know, it's a lot of people that seem like they're fine with getting screwed, except the guy who comes in and says, am I really gonna buy this for $60?
including all the big changes to
Except that guy. That guy, he never even gets on the bus.
With all the other roles in the game, so as well as like some of the work that we've been doing with like CC abilities in the game, so it's really hard to pick one of those.
Overwatch 2, ooh. I had to enunciate, otherwise people don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that'd be a good title. That'd be good. Maybe they'd get it.
Being able to be a little bit more, this is like selfish. Being able to be a little bit more brawly.
I don't know. It is weird though. Probably after Overwatch 2 and Path of Exile 2 come out, more developers are gonna do that because it kind of. It's too valuable of a marketing opportunity to not say, hey, Warframe 2, but it's also still just like the same game and everything carries over because you've been building onto that game for like 15 years and you just have to keep doing it.
In any version of Overwatch that you're playing is that moment where you get to drop the shield and go in and just start laying waste.
But for the time being, when a game of the Overwatch 2 type has never released ever before, I'm fucking confused.
This isn't for me. And then you just land that one shatter, that perfect shatter, and then you're just like, yep.
But what about PSO2? No one cares you jerk off to anime, dude. No one even knows what you're talking about because everyone else is well adjusted.
How do you guys look at maintaining the balance between PvP and?
Do I play Warframe still? Nope.
Like completely separate, like different environments, like.
I explored all of the content that I had never played before that was new to me. I kind of reached the end of that and was like, huh, this game's kind of trash, and then I stopped. It's fun the first time, but the first time needs to last you for 2,000 hours.
Enjoyment comes from sort of how much you're willing to commit, and there's always like this risk game you're playing. You're taking space, but are you don't want to be too far ahead of your team or your healers.
I masturbate to cartoons, so what? I mean, you can if you want. I personally believe in you and think you can do that. You know, that's fine. Other people, you just have to accept. Other people aren't going to take you very seriously. Not that I'm one of those people. I fully acknowledge that, you know, on your college applications in the near future, you're going to be able to put on it that you're a furry and get the furry grant. Or you could say, like, I'm a huge-ass weeb, and I have a, like, you send in the picture of your body pillow, and when you get approved, like, oh, yeah, he's like, actually a weeb. He has a body pillow, then you get approved for some sort of a government aid. Like, it's going that way.
Just so we can make sure that they shine.
So again, as always, Ster ahead of his time. I respect it. Because 10 years from now, I don't want someone to look back and find that I didn't respect it, and then I lose my job that I don't have. Okay? I'm playing the long game.
Mode, I called it, which was like a hybrid mode.
Yeah, I'd fuck furries. They're just people with dog tails and ears and thousands of dollars of commitment put into pretending to fuck an animal. Like, come on, man.
It was pretty interesting, and like, there's maybe a version of that. Yeah, exactly. There's maybe a version that we could do that at some point in the future, but we don't have like direct plans for that right now because it was one thing came out of it like.
Oh, also the other reason, if you're not on board with the whole furry thing, you need to get on board. Financial advice, because the furry grant is going to exist when you apply to colleges and stuff. They're only going to take people seriously who have been claiming to be a furry long before they introduce the benefits for it. So if you start saying now, like, oh yeah, my persona is, I'm, Guy Bark is my persona. Because I don't want to be called like a poser when this becomes a thing. Is this a trick?
Into like a main version of Overwatch, and we weren't really able to do it. But push kind of came out of that, and we are working on one other one that I'm really excited about, and hopefully it's something that
I'm just trying to
talk to
be a responsible dad to some of my chatters.
Yes.
Teach them about the world. Get them ready for the future. You go to school every fucking day, and they teach you stuff that is irrelevant. No one actually teaches you the things you're going to need to know, like becoming a furry, plumbing, any sort of tools, anything you can do with your hands, how to fix a sink. They don't teach you this shit. They teach you what happened 100 years ago. Which is fine. Your history is great, but they teach you what happened 100 years ago in one specific region, which is the country that you live in. And they teach you the same time period about the same people every year. And those people, they're teaching you about the people that knew how to fix sinks. You need to be one of those people. Okay? Party Wolf is my government name, so I'm ready for my grant. See, he's ready! Party Wolf knows! Though I think there's a couple of places, like on your Twitter, used to say that you're not a furry, by the way. Which you need to remove that. If someone uses the back in time internet thing on you, they caught you. You're done for. You're gonna lose out huge.
So it's been powerful, and we're still looking.
Can a furry be a plumber?
It's just another great feedback tool you get from the community.
What's so funny? We were talking the other day, and it's like,
man, 50 years from now, what you just said, that's super racist.
This is kind of cool. And you're just
so I don't even want to respond.
We get Sigma's cool to fly for a day or two.
Actually, I have been watching like a lot of history. Okay, hold on. I have to stop laughing for a second, because when I talk about furries that long and then I start a conversation by actually, it kind of implies like everything I just said. Yeah, but actually, like, really? You guys need to be paying attention to what I'm saying right now. I've been watching a lot of history documentaries, and one of them posed the very generic question, because it was showing like a lot of the ways that people 100 years ago used to use all these really unsafe products that would basically be killing themselves, and how awful all this shit they did was. And looking back at these stupid old timers, they know nothing. And the end was like, it kind of makes you think, what things are we doing today that 100 years from now we'll look back on and think the same thing? So I've had that in my head actually for most things. So like obviously number one, actually like 100 years from now, the furry grant. Plastic actually, but where was I going next with this? I had another stupid make-believe point. Hold on.
It's grown. We kind of like when we shipped Overwatch 1 when it launched, we were around 60 to 70 people.
How do you think people of the future
from there, and I don't think we're at quite 200
are going to look backwards in time?
The game that we're making now, Overwatch 2, it's a much.
I just have to say it like really quickly. So, how do you think people 100 years from now in the future are going to look back in time at rap songs with the N-word in it? Is it gonna be like that book that they show people in school and it's like the first time they read it? The guy painting the fence book? They're gonna think it's stupid. That's what I'm saying. Like, isn't 100 years from now they're gonna look back at all this and be like, why were they doing that? That's fucking ridiculous.
Really exciting working on something that has
Huckleberry Finn, I think, and Tom Sawyer, one of those. All of them. I guess all of them.
Here today is that we're able to work on something that's new, you know, and it has all these exciting elements. While still
Like 40 years out from that now? Yeah, probably.
like made the original
I feel it's getting closer, but not quite there.
like, hey,
Because the old dogs don't want to give it up. It rhymes with everything.
we are committed to like keeping the PvP of Overwatch as competitive
I don't know,
as
man.
possible, and we are putting so many resources.
Any book from the 1900s.
Yeah, just pushing the game forward. It's like all the heroes.
Oh man, that reminds me of something. Definitely,
with the learnings from Overwatch 1 just evolutionize, right? You know, pushing
definitely,
the game forward,
never mind.
something else new kind of create.
That's a definite never mind for me.
This Transcendence base sealed the deal here.
Yes.
Reaper did his
It
damage
rhymes
so
with
far.
itself. It's the only word in the English dictionary that rhymes with itself.
Kind of concludes. I'm sure. The.
It has to be.
going to
I have no water.
Won and lost.
Shit.
I was not keeping score of the matches. I'm sure they'll be pretty angry that we didn't keep score of
Wait, what word?
loss. But
Yeah, never mind.
A really awesome showcase of the PvP side of the
Yeah,
game
just never
today.
mind, man.
You guys could just kind of give one lasting.
I think it's kind of funny though, in that hypothetical of 100 years from now future. I feel like everyone knows fundamentally what those things are.
I guess I'd say
That when you look back on like, oh, in the Victorian era, they were brushing their teeth with arsenic. They didn't know any better. But I bet you they all, like most people knew. Kind of like 100 years from now, if people look back, they'll be like, how did they not know climate change was a thing? It's like, nah,
I'd like to just give a heartfelt
I mean,
you to everyone.
there's a lot of people that kind of, they know.
Throughout the years, and I also want to let you know that we
New
are
English
still
will be
listening,
Twitch chat talk.
and we are still taking feedback on this game. And
Yeah.
more than anything, we just want it to be the best version of itself
Okay, let him finish.
that it can be, and we're committed to making it that. We come into work every day, kind of like passionate and excited to work on this game. Whether it's some of
The contrast of actually letting him talk about what we've been watching versus what I've been talking about. Take it away, God. Something needs to end this.
Thank you all. Thank you for letting us build this game for all of you, because we love doing it.
How about for you, Jeff and Dion?
I pretty much echo what Aaron said. Of course, thanks to community. I mean, a lot of this kind of changes, especially all this experimentation and things we've done starting Overwatch 2, was directly getting feedback from the community and hearing what people liked and didn't like, and hopefully that comes across. Also to mention that obviously I think
They're not saying anything, but
this is all like pretty early work in progress.
they have the space.
Still
It's their
trying a lot of
turn.
stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I mentioned that isn't even in this, so you can see that we're very actively working on this stuff.
Here, hold on. Let's try and make a game out of it.
Something like
Shit,
just
okay.
running around and smash people against walls, and I can imagine somebody like still doing his stun combo kill, but like I be making a lot of changes.
It's
to him,
hard.
for example, especially if we do CC changes. So it's sort of like the double-edged sword of like being able to show you guys early is some of it's not quite done yet, but I think it's been awesome to really try to keep communication up and letting you guys see what we're working
It's hard. It's really hard in real time.
I echo the same thing. We have a pretty incredible team working on the game. The character team, world building, QA,
He's finished the sentence.
production, concepting. It's quite a game every day.
I give up.
Look forward to getting it into players' hands soon.
What, like 1 out of 10 of them was okay.
Obviously, kind of, we're working with you guys on some of the stuff like this, and then some of the other members of the Overwatch
After
team,
adjectives,
your guys' passion.
okay, we'll try
to
again.
just make
We're gonna
this
get better.
game the best is something that comes through in every conversation. So really excited to see what you guys in store for the future of the game. Aaron, what's next? What can the community look for? I think you guys have an AMA going on.
Yep, we have one coming up in just a few days. It's going to be on the Overwatch Reddit, or subreddit, sorry. So tune into that. And I think it's the 3 of us. Don't quote me on that.
He's signing up Dion for it.
They're not saying anything.
Just got signed up.
I'm not getting any good setups.
Aaron, let me know.
Yes,
Yeah, we'll
someone's gonna be there answering questions.
Yeah, we'll send the Outlook invites. No, we'll get everybody in here counting again, like we did this morning. No, nothing will be needed for that. But yeah, and then we have Overwatch League kicking off again tomorrow. We'll be discussing a lot of the things that were talked about today here at 11:30 PT. And don't forget, guys, the Overwatch anniversary event is going on right now in game. Some really awesome skins to earn. You can get that combat. The new.
All right. It's over, guys. It's officially over again. I thought it was over before. Officially over. What? Oh, look at that nice picture. What is that? Oh my god. Yeah. Is that Italy? I got a plugin from my browser that shows top-down world pictures, but some of them look really weird. Instead of showing like a blank screen. This one looks like, it does look like Jello. Is that me? No chatter left behind on the Ster opinion? You know it's my responsibility to no chatter left behind you. They are coming to really good conclusions 6 years too late. I hope Overwatch 2 gets the hype. I think it will get hype because it's Overwatch 2, new game, wow! But they really have come to the very obvious conclusions I've been saying all along. Really, really late. So, on one hand, it's good that they're getting there and they're figuring it out. On the other hand, it's a shame that they think there was no way to know this 6 years ago. And they say things like, well, we weren't wrong then, we're just more right now. Because they can't even admit, no, 6 years ago you were wrong. It just took you 6 years to see it. That doesn't make it right. Alright? So there's a little bit of disappointment from me in that, you know, Overwatch more of the same. It's taking a long time for them to put together, you know, the Lego pieces. The circle goes in the circle hole. Triangle goes, you know, they all fit together. But what they actually have, and they're presenting, and they're talking about, I agree with it all. However, I'm very cautiously optimistic that they will actually follow through and do the things they say they're doing. To look back on this at a later date where they were talking about there's only going to be one tank, we're rethinking whether or not DPS Hero should have CC. He specifically calls out McCree Flashbang. I think the game will probably still launch with McCree having a Flashbang that stuns. So they can say all these things all they want, but I'm waiting to see some action on that. And see if they actually follow through on the full design change everywhere. And that individual heroes don't get left behind. Just because they they just forgot. You know? The myth of Cassandra? I don't know what you're talking about. Specific, there's a lot of people named Cassandra. I'm one of them. Make a video talking thing about this? If they value my opinion, they can ask me. But they don't. So I don't want to spend the time working for them under the assumption that they want to hear it, because they don't. If you make videos about this kind of stuff, you're making it for yourself, not for them. Or for viewers who care about your opinion and are interested in that, but it's, yeah. Even if like it is a big thing within the community and everyone's like, dude, Ster made this video, and you know, it actually brings up a lot of really good points. Siegel made that video a year or two ago, and if we go back and watch that video that caught a lot of traction, where he said a lot of things that I had been saying for 3 years and getting a lot of shit for had said, it's identical to it is how, like, what he said then, how the game is now, identical. It didn't do anything. So if that's your goal in making a video, yeah, it's nice. You're being unrealistic here, buddy. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes not. They need to do it wrong themselves to see why it was wrong, so that they can see in the future that they used to be wrong. You can't tell them they're wrong now. It just won't work. And they're the ones in control of deciding what is right and wrong. So to make a video, you can't convince someone to treat themselves better, to have a positive mental outlook, to be a healthy person. They need to decide for themselves. And you can't tell someone to make Overwatch a good game. They gotta actually want it. Give up, buddy. Yeah, everyone just give up. True, but they weren't wrong. You're right. Speaking of Seagull, I copied him? What? What did he say? I don't get it. Reading's hard. The only narrative is 5v5 is bad. I think that they, as a dev team, will only come out with their decision on a radical change once they have fully committed already to it. That, they've pulled back from one or two things that were pretty wild, but, like, they weren't gonna introduce roll queue without being 100% sure this is absolutely the route that we are convinced the game needs to go. Because they are terrified of scaring players, and they wouldn't scare players without the full intent of following through on the thing that they actually said. Because then there's no point in being like, we're going to do 5v5. Everyone's scared. Oh, fucking abort. I mean, if it was really bad, they would, but I think they're, they're committed. 12v12 to Groot keep? Absolutely. Absolutely. So is there anything else going on? Any other points of discussion? We went over we talked about furries. Like, I feel like I've covered a lot. Honestly, I should teach a college course. I should be a professor. I'm gonna apply to Harvard. I think I could come up with a new age curriculum of batshit crazy stuff. How would you balance the remaining tanks to work on 5v5 setup? I'd make them stronger. And the most important thing you can do with making one tank and balancing them is removing tanks from the tank roll, like Zarya and D.Va. If you make D.Va's hitbox a little bit smaller, she's a DPS character. And then give her defense matrix to somebody else. Like a support character. Or a tank. Bet you could teach a game design course? Probably. I would have before thought it was like a weird ego thing, because like saying you get game design feels like everyone on Reddit does. You're not special. Like anyone can just say that yeah, duh. It's easy to appear an expert or to seem like you know what you're talking about, because also game design is super duper subjective, and there's a lot of times where you technically you can't be wrong, because there's always, even if you take a really stupid approach to something, if you work on that approach and you're dedicated to that, eventually it'll get hammered out into something that works. But now that I've been doing Myriad a lot longer and have actually had like real legitimate experience and have streamed stuff and talked about it on stream and like worked through it, some of the comments that I read, the comments that I read about what I'm doing is what justifies like, huh, maybe I actually do know what I'm doing more than I like to take credit for. Because people are saying some really wild shit that sounds right, but I know deep down is like just so flawed. Ster News more than Reddit. Yeah, that's why earlier we were saying too, why would me making a video be more valuable than anyone else in the world making a video? Like, oh, make this video and like the developers will watch. Is like, my opinion is equivalent of everyone else's because everyone else can be right about game design and has like the same amount of credibility. You can spend a month. Your college thesis is a game design like analytical report broken down so hard on a particular game. You spent a month on it, huge write-up, post it to Reddit, and then the top comment could be like a guy says, yeah, I don't think this is right. Well, you're wrong. Shit. I mean, like, he's just as correct as you are. Just with a lot less effort. I don't know. I think of all my time on YouTube, I wish at one point I had made an Overwatch video about design stuff. Because I had been planning one for a while back when I was playing it a lot more regularly. Just point out some of the shit that doesn't make any sense, particularly the my whole philosophy that attack and defense should not exist in the game. Which is like the core what Overwatch is. But yeah. It's way too late for that, and I'm way too out of the loop. And I definitely now don't have the motivation to. I got other more important stuff I'm doing. Braxton Farley, hey, I know this is really off topic, but when, if ever, will you play Deep Rock Galactic again? They've been adding a bunch of stuff. Man, like, it always seems like it'd be a lot of fun, but I really would want like an actual group of 4 people who are really excited to play that game, to play it. And that's it. Like, maybe one day I can set up a group, but if I'm going to the distance where I'm setting up a group of people to play a game, I'm fucking playing EDF with like Moon and Arcadum, and I don't even care. I'm fucking getting Moon to play EDF. I feel like you would all... You also have to ask yourself if most popular game equals favorite game? What do you mean? I don't get what you're saying, unfortunately. I'm just not on that level. EDF. Oh, dude, there was an EDF game. The World Brothers game was coming out like this week or something, or maybe next week. It was one of those stupid spin-off EDF games, so it looked kind of bad, but I'm still somewhat curious that there's definitely a way they could make that game good. Just the gameplay demo they showed of it, it did not look like they made that game good. LoL has a huge player base, but isn't fun. But yeah, when you're saying favorite game, do you mean like the subjective eye? And what stops you from thinking it's your favorite game, even if it's not or is popular? Like, are you saying like League is not designed well? I don't know. I miss like, I feel like I missed the context that sets up what you're saying. Probably because what I was saying, I kept moving and read your comment late. Trailer sucks so much for the EF game. The game looked fine. It's just there weren't enough enemies on screen. They were showing you fighting like 10 ants. And if you're fighting 10 ants in EDF, that's a big bummer from me. I wouldn't want to make a game that is popular, but I think sucks. Yeah, I mean, that example's kind of harsh because you're following the trend of something that's already popular, which always is what happens. And then you get things like the Batman MOBA, what that was called. What was that called? Gotham Knights? No, the MOBA. It was like, it had some super edgy name. You guys are naming a first-person shooter, the MOBA. Injustice, you fucking guys. There was like a DC Universe MOBA. Arena of Valor's coming up. That's not it. Oh, because Joker's in this random ass game. How is no one... Infinite Crisis. Fucking thank anyone who said Infinite Crisis. Thank you for pulling me out of my fucking grave. I know it's so obscure at this point that people, I guess, just don't remember. But they pushed, they marketed, they tried so hard with Infinite Crisis. But when you're like, League is popular game, let's make popular game, you get that sort of scenario rather than a good game. Well, it doesn't even matter if it's a good game. Because it isn't League, and it will never be League. And the market only has space for like League, Dota, Smite. Whatever is below that, you're already below Smite, so you're fucking lost. Because Smite is like... Smite is already the bottom feeder in that scenario. Fucking bug-eyed bottom dweller. Dead Island MOBA? No, I don't. I do love me some high-res, but sometimes... Like, what happened with the card game they were making? That was, a little bit late. A little late on that one. Marvel Heroes was dope. I tried... I disagree. Big disagree. Not dope. PlanetSide tried a battle royale recently? Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I mean... Sometimes you gotta try and save your company. But if you're just making a game because you want to make a good game, then you're probably in indie game development. And then you don't need to do that. Unless you're battle right. I don't know. It really depends, doesn't it? Really depends how successful your previous game was. Yeah, I'm actually surprised they went through that entire Overwatch 2 preview without showing a new hero. Like, even teasing one. Because they definitely have, like, 3 nearly done. Sorry. I don't know. Need to find next topic. Where is it? This is why I need to become React streamer. You guys can just link me YouTube videos. I need to sit down, watch Poke stream, deeply analyze where his content comes from. Because even he doesn't know. Figure out how to replicate. React to chat, reacting to you. I think my problem is I just, whenever there's a lull in the conversation, I need to think of the next thing. I feel like that's it. It's over. Everyone's attention span, it's over. That 5-minute break that I had after an hour-long conversation, everyone's done with me. Yikers. Oh, dude, when you don't know what to say, you fucking read subs. Is Kilobyte 100 bits? Thank you. Burnt Muffins, he subbed. Oh my god. Shavisi. Judai Flow is my chance to say something funny like Game Dead or oh dude, this was an hour ago. Wasn't Ster a fighting game streamer? True. I hope Momo gets to meet your mom? What the fuck? In what context would she be meeting my mom? That's even relevant. What?
You got kids?
Sex? She's gonna have sex with my mom? It's Killbite. Thanks again, Truly Tib. Your mom could guest star, you said? Oh, yeah. Dude, shit. She was really excited for that. I really do need to make sure I put in the extra effort to figure out when that will happen or how that will happen. I could probably, like, put her in the place that Ronnie was as a merchant. And that would be easy. Because merchants all have, like, a time limit on existence and relevance.
You got kids?
Good streamer reading of subscriptions? I don't know. Do good streamers do that? Or do good streamers, like, rather than reading the subs, just entertain people? Rather than the one guy. I never knew. Handgun Huggo. That guy knows. He knows the answer. Good streamers tell chat to piss off, to be honest. Man, I'd tell chat to piss on me. You know that one meme where the guy's asleep, but then the guy's awake and he's really, like, hyper awake because of the thing that was better than the first thing that he saw when he was sleeping, because the first thing from sleeping wasn't as good as the next one. So, like, the guy is asleep and that's a Twitch sub and the guy in the chat, and then the real shit guy is the guy who supports me on Patreon for Myriad, you know? So, I don't, that was a really long explanation. Yes, I remember Shaq. Is that Shaq? Yeah, it's Shaq. The guy from all the, like, old people commercials? Like, whenever they're selling a product to people of 60 or older? That Shaq? Okay. Terry Crews? No, Terry Crews is young Shaq. They just replaced him. You know when your dog gets too old and you get a new one? You get a new puppy and your old dog knows. It's like, damn. I'm not even gone yet. Fucking Terry Crews. Is Terry Crews even young? He's younger than Shaq. It's not about how old you are, it's about how old you look. Terry Crews is 52. What? No. No, what? How old is Shaq? This can't be right. Shaq is 49? This is this is made up. This can't be right. Terry Crews, 1968, age 52. Oh my god, dude. You got replaced by an older dog. Shaq, 1972, 49. That's okay. I'm surprised. People are, yeah, that's also true. Public eye, people are only as old as you know them as. So, like, if you see someone who's, like, physically fit, they've always been that way. They didn't even have to try to get it. They were born a jock in high school, and then they just had muscles from that point forward in their life. And Terry Crews is fucking 30. I don't want to hear it. Eminem is 48. Damn. I thought he was like 16. What? Time really do be like that. Shrek came out 20 years ago. That hit me. I don't know. It probably would have hit me, but I didn't really like see Shrek when it came out, so my context of the time there is, you know, a little bit off. The one that I keep coming back to in terms of streaming and the people that I'm talking to and assuming the age group of the people I'm talking to, that kind of hits me weird, is whenever a new Souls-like game comes out, I always rethink, like, especially when Dark Souls Remastered came out, I was like, fuck, Dark Souls is actually so old that the demographic for games would have not played Dark Souls, and it's like just something that they would have completely, entirely just not have ever played. Feels like Dark Souls has just existed forever. But if you were born, if you're like 17 now, you weren't playing fucking Dark Souls when you were a wee little bab. So it's not even that long. Yeah, it's only 10 years old, but if you're 17 now, you know, you're in Twitch chat, you know, yo, I'm hip, I'm cool, I'm saying sheesh, yo, what up, I'm Dashy, you're doing all that shit. You come in my chat and you're like, oh yeah, Dark Souls Remastered, never played it, I'm really looking forward to it. I love the new ones. And it's like, because you were 7 when Dark Souls came out. Fuck, dude. Man, I want to be reborn. I want to be a fucking newborn baby. I want to just like wake up out the womb, tactical combat role, and be like, all of this internet media, games, entertainment, movies, they all just exist. I don't have to like wait for anything. And then by the time I'm 10 years old, I would have gone through it all and be just as jaded as everyone else. Fuck, dude. Just speed run through like 5 decades of all the best content. Skyrim's close to being 10 years old. That's normal too, because Skyrim also felt like it was 10 years old when it came out. So now it's just like, oh yeah, it's still, right? It's still just like that old game. I wasn't super hyped about it coming out, you know? Toddler playing Median XL. The Diablo 2 remaster is probably like... This topic's goofy. But the context of whenever like an action RPG would come out and be like, yeah, this game sucks because Diablo 2 is just way better, has finally hit that... Not finally, but it always has been. It's just clearer to see now that there's a remaster coming. That like when I say that, what percent of people played Diablo 2 when it was new? Could have even done it that I'm talking to if the average demographic in the Twitch chat is like teenage. What, dude, we were listening to like jazz guitar and then it hits me with Doom. You've never played without knowing you? Yeah, see, that's the thing too. I feel like no one who didn't grow up with Diablo 2 will ever have any motivation to play Median XL, which is It's just the best action RPG, I'm sorry. Except for you can't even play it now because the new version of it is worse than the old version of it that like doesn't exist anymore, kind of. It's just gone. You just can't do it. I'm 23, never played Diablo 2, but did 3. Holding, that's a ban. I accidentally clicked permit. I permit you to be banned. I do think my chat is older, generally. Because I don't think loud's that funny. You know. Just a lot of stuff. I haven't been relevant for like 6 years, so anyone who's still watching me has aged 6 years. And they were watching me when they were teenagers, so like they grew up too. I'm in the womb right now. Dude. Just you wait till you get out of that womb. So much cool stuff out here. You're never going to want to go back in. Like, at first, it's going to feel weird. You're going to cry. But then once you get used to it, you're never going to want to go back. Will I play Overwatch 2? Yes. I'll do it. Not even 20? Grow up, kiddo. The average follow age? I don't think Twitch gives any sort of statistics on anything like that. They're pretty bare bones. And even though YouTube does give stats on demographics, I've never trusted them. And I always just assume you make a YouTube or a Google account. Who's telling the truth on their birthday? Nobody. My age is like 80 on YouTube. Yeah, probably for a lot of people. You can't watch this content until you're at least 18 years old. This is rated for mature. Yeah, that's fine, because on my account, I'm fucking 98. Never run into that problem again. Don't need an account, dude. I don't want to hear it. How else are you gonna leave a sick burn in the comments? How else are you gonna watch the video and within the first 20 seconds pick the funniest sentence you've heard and write it out word for word to try and get upvotes if you don't have an account? Come on. Come on. Dude, I wish Guilty Gear was still out so I could have a game I want to play. Fuck. Fuck. It really be like that. Still using Giovanna? Reluctantly. She, at the end of the last stream, I did rant for an hour about how she is very bad, so we'll see. I also think there's like just one more step of execution I need to get over and get out of a few bad habits I formed with her, where it's like possible I could do okay with her, but goddamn, if she doesn't get anything in launch, I think I'm gonna have to drop her. Are you done with PoE? Already is a weird way to put how many hours I put in this league. I kind of cut myself off at a certain point. I was like, I would like to try this build now. I was like, no, dude, just stop. Just do it. Like, do it as a league starter next time. Just get out. Path of Exile is almost feeling like an early access game because you know PoE 2 is around the corner. So it's just like, I also would like to just be able to wait and not play. And I fucking hope they simplify some stuff. Because part of me is like, no, you know, I want to play PoE so I can start learning the game. It's so complicated. And by the time PoE 2 comes out, I'll get it all. But the more that I get PoE, the more I think, fuck, I wish I didn't get this because it's stupid. And they really need to tone this down. And if they don't, I'm going to be disappointed. Balloons TD. There was, yeah, I don't know, man. This is probably just going to end up being a just chatting stream until I am completely out of things. Even I don't get crafting. I was really happy. I was watching someone play, talking about how much they don't get crafting. It was very relatable. But they are a good player. And I was like, you know what? I agree. I just ignore all of it and just trade for shit. Because it kind of gets in your face. Like, you feel like you need to learn how to do blah, 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 and like 30 unintuitive steps to maybe get one item that you might have to start from the beginning on. Nah. Airstream Bloodborne? I don't think I did. I might have. I think I did, actually. Hard to remember. That was like 30 years ago. Just trade for shit? Okay, and we're gonna go down the Path of Exile route. We were talking a lot of game design. I finally came to the conclusion on the specific thing that I think is bad in PoE that I hate about it. I still think it's like a great game, but I finally was able to narrow down like this one thing that's the problem. And it was when I was comparing it to Median XL, which I was saying earlier is like my favorite action RPG. I think everything in that worked out really well, which actually ended up inspiring a lot of the stuff in Path of Exile. So they are adjacent to each other. But in Median XL, what I really like about it is every character you make sort of has benchmarks where you unlock new bosses as you level up and progress. Early Median XL, you had like a level 1 challenge. You have to do this. You get a charm for doing it. Level 50 challenge. Do that. You get a charm. Level 100, you like get to this new thing. So it would give you these new bosses to fight or these new things to do, and it was always fun to make a new character because every new character had to do those things, and you get to like benchmark how good the build was at like that exact moment of like, oh, now we're at level 100, we have this new thing to do. And at the end game, when you get to late game, you have everything unlocked, and it just becomes a question of, could this character do every challenge and beat every boss at least once to get their charm? And is it good enough to continue farming them if I want to? In Path of Exile, you boot up a game, and you're like, I'm ready to fight a boss. Well, Path of Exile, tons of bosses. Every league, like, new boss. I want to do Delirium. I wanted to do Delirium last league. I played a shit ton of fucking PoE. I never found enough splinters to create a single simulacrum. Because you have to grind to be able to do the thing you want to do. It isn't like so much as in Diablo, you're like, I'm going to grind Mephisto and just go fight Mephisto over and again. PoE is like, I'm going to grind to get to the point where I can grind. I just want to do like boss, like hit the benchmark, fight the boss, do the challenge. Hit like level 70, he's like, oh, I'm going to fight like Aziri and learn that whole boss fight. And like, as you progress and do the harder ones, eventually Maven, cool. But even to fight Maven is like, we're expecting, you know, a 100-hour commitment for, yeah, I know you can do it a lot faster, blah, 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 blah. Just speed run the game, everyone's a top 1% player. It's just so much in between the fun parts. It's like roadblocks. And fuck. Dude, I'm sick of it. Done Cirrus twice in 1.8k hours. Yeah, dude, my map progression was so shit this league, I felt like it took me an impossibly long time to get to Cirrus and get the satisfaction of like, oh, I'm actually fighting the guy I wanted to fight Cirrus. Cool. Finally there. But yeah, it's just baked in with time wasting to keep people playing, and it's unfortunate because it works. You know, back when I was a youngster, people didn't know that you could mentally manipulate people into playing your game more by making your game less fun. They didn't know that yet. They didn't know about loot boxes. Games were for fun. You kids these days, I wish you knew. I wish you could go back and just play a game where they weren't trying to, like, figure out how the human mind works to exploit it, to get you to, you know, shoot out your endorphins and give them money. You know, back in the good old days. Games were skill-based. Back in the day. Hey, let me tell you this. Back in the day, games were skill-based because instead of grinding for that fucking cosmetic you want so bad, you didn't have a cosmetic, so you just played the game to get better. And the reward was getting better. So you play a game like StarCraft, and you just, like... No one is good at StarCraft, and that's why no one wants to play it nowadays, because it's too fucking hard and, like, what? Like, it's... What? You have to take a PhD class to learn how to play StarCraft. And you don't get cosmetics at the end of it. How boomer... I mean, I'm boomering it up intentionally. No, there's no hat at the end of the StarCraft grind. But now if you play League of Legends, you only have to manage one unit, and you can buy skins for them. And you betcha League of Legends is mentally manipulating you to play more. You betcha. A StarCraft stream? No, I'm trash. See, I know I won't play it. I'm trash. I don't want to play it. I'm not good at it. In this day and age with Twitch, and you can, like, watch the best person in the entire world play any game that you want, and relate yourself to them. I'm not good enough to play and enjoy that game. So, you know, I think I'm just gonna stick to Candy Crush. Which again is, I don't know, even like Path of Exile, where everyone who starts playing it is like, I don't understand everything. I don't know how to make a build. I should follow a guide. I don't get everything in the game 100% on my first playthrough. It's overwhelming. Yeah. You might not be as good as the guy that you watched who is only, his life has been waking up and playing the game for 10 hours a day for 10 years. You might not be as good as him. Fuck. What's the fucking point? Do you make your own PoE builds? Yeah. Do I even live? If Ashley's still watching, she's probably not, because I'm talking instead of playing a game. Ashley won't play me in ping pong because I'm better than her, and it makes me sad. Fuck, dude. Fuck. It's not about winning. It's about the journey. PO is overwhelming, though? I disagree. I think you're just trying to take in all the information at once, rather than play one. Like, okay, let's say the internet. Okay, no, you're the baby that just popped out of the womb. You've played some games here and there. Never heard of Path of Exile. You don't have the internet. You haven't been marketed to. You haven't seen a Twitch stream. You open up PoE and you say, you know what? I'm going to play this game. Level 1. You open up the skill tree. Holy shit, that's big! You have two fucking choices. Do I want health or do I want damage? And then just keep picking. One at a time. There you go. You said yourself was overcomplicated? It is overcomplicated when you know what you don't know. And that's what I'm saying, is if you just ignore what you don't know and don't want to know, you can still have fun with it. And you can still beat it. You can, you know, you don't need the optimal build to beat the game and have had fun with it. And I would even say most people do quit when they get to maps, and it's totally justified at this point because maps use an unreasonable amount of your time up. Unless you love the game, you hit the game, the end game, and you're just like absolutely in love with everything that's happening, and you're that person that just clicks for you, then it's good enough to just stop. But I feel like the people that get to the end game enjoyed the playthrough. I heard Shore4 talk about this. He was like, yeah, I don't like PoE, the game sucks. I get to the end game, I don't know what to do, and it's like, yo, nah. Like that's fine. You know, back in my day, the end game for Diablo 2 was bail runs. You know? And that was good enough. So we didn't know any better. All you gotta do is know less betterer. And just enjoy what you have and not think you need 2,000 hours out of every game. Or killing cows, inefficient. Fuck you. Will you be doing day 1 Vault of Glass? Those are not words I've heard before. Is that Arcadum's campaign? Did you watch Session 0, which is the only way you know what that is? You know the answer. I wasn't there. I think that's what I don't... Unless I don't... Is that Destiny? Dude, that's how little I don't know. Destiny? Fuck Destiny. 2,000 hours to fucking go to your Vault of Glass. I can stick a glass dildo up my ass for like 20 bucks. I would spam skelly walls and lock my teammates on the boss. Well, good job, Jay Zombie. If the internet was more common when D2 existed, D2 has some really fucked up things you can do in it. So for anyone who has like nostalgia about like, oh, Diablo 2, great game. I feel like you understand 10% of the game of what was actually there and what you could have actually been doing. But it's better that you didn't know, because then you came out not feeling like you FOMO, like you missed something, which is Path of Exile. You can't play Path of Exile without feeling like you missed out or didn't understand. Why stamina exists? Dude, I don't know. Like Diablo 2, you can make your mercenaries untargetable. That's pretty important. You're gonna want to make your mercenaries untargetable. Swap casting glitch, which is like, dude, the Diablo 2 remaster is actually so like close to the original one that it kept some of the bugs in it, because the engine apparently is just like straight up the same. Swap casting kind of ridiculous. And everyone be like, dude, the strongest barbarian, you play a fucking whirlwind barb. The original whirlwind barb. The best fucking barbarian is Warcry. You want to deal the most damage? Spam Warcry. What? You don't know. You're a fucking noob out there whirlwinding. What are you doing using whirlwind? It's fucking idiots, man. This conversation is so fucking boomer. I'm making my difference in the world right now, man. When I found out I was supposed to invest all my stats into Vitality, I remember my first time like actually playing through Diablo 2. Kids? And some random dude offered to rush me, and I didn't know what that meant. And he rushed me to Act 4. And then he left. And then I was so confused and like sad because I couldn't fight any of the enemies where I was and like didn't understand at all. So I like stopped playing that character and made a new one. It's just, I didn't get it. Played Overwatch off stream? No. No. I'm just waiting. I don't play a lot of stuff off stream. If I play anything off stream, it's usually a very slow paced game like card games and stuff. What do you do when your char is rushed? In Diablo 2, you could get someone's level 1 character to the end game by like doing everything for them. And there was normally you'd have to be level 20 or 40 or 60 to beat certain parts of the game, but there's a glitch that can get you through those. So you can get like a level 1 character to the have the full game finished. And then you just show up to maps where people kill stuff and you level as quickly as you can. So it's like just entirely dependent on other people doing stuff for you. Like Diablo 3 currently is. If you want to level a character to do greater rifts right now in Diablo 3, did I say 2? Diablo 3. Someone can level you to 70 in 5 minutes, run a few greater rifts for you, you get all your legendaries, and then the game's over in like an hour. Very poggers. And see it's just that the whole topic, knowing that is possible ruins the experience. Everyone needs to be stupider in all regards. Right? Right. If we could just be dumber, we'd be happier. I've had this idea for a few years that I always thought it would be cool if a game had... I think I brought this up in the context of Overwatch when they brought out experimental mode. That if a game just changed the balance numbers of the game so often that there could be no meta. However, that's like a super pipe dream. I don't even think it would work. But it would be very cool to go back to a time when no one knew what was best and you had to kind of just enjoy what you had and figure it out for yourself. The websites like for Hearthstone where it gives you the exact percentages of drawn win rate for every individual card in your deck and like when you should mulligan exactly what card is just... That shit sucks. I mean, it's fun in its own way. I guess if you're like a statistician kind of person, you're really into just like having that much data to enjoy and seeing how it all works out. But for everyone else, that shit really sucks. Duels kind of mix that up. Yeah, a little bit. I played Duels when they came out, but Duels, when it came out, ran into a meta so fast because of how... I think it's better now because they balanced things, but it was just like the same Warlock and the same Mage deck, I think it was, back to back to back to back to back. Magic IRL is kind of like that. Costs too much to get the cards. Yeah, I mean, I guess like even in Hearthstone Arena would be more like that because you can't guarantee that you get the busted thing every time. But then even then they still work out the statistical probability of what the most efficient cards are and have... Anyway, I don't know. I'm running out of steam. I think I'm going to call the stream for the day. I appreciate everyone who hung out. It was fun to talk for a while. I haven't had one of these in a while. It was a good chat. I just don't have any games that I really want to play super hard at the moment. Like if Guilty Gear was out, it'd be nice to jump into that, but I'm just gonna go back to working on Myriad, which again, for while there are people here, is basically my Dungeons and Dragons game that I've basically been making so that all of the boring parts of D&D, like rolling dice. Not strictly the boring part, but to automate, to make everything go by quicker so you don't have to wait as long, so that combats don't need to take 5 hours to play, and take advantage of the fact that you're playing on a computer and have a much more interesting mechanics than tabletop would normally allow, but still having it be an open system so that a DM can step in and do whatever they need to do to make it actually Dungeons and Dragons, because D&D is a good fucking game. Because all of the problems we just discussed don't exist in a game where the dungeon master comes up with everything for you and you have much more free will. So people still trying to min-max that shit. So I'm gonna get back to work on that. We're looking to start another campaign soon. I hope sooner rather than later. It'd be nice, but I've just been hard at work for that for a long time. There's Patreon for it, and I'll catch you when I catch you. I'm gonna host somebody and pass you all along to someone who deserves it. You know what? How about we send you to someone who does not deserve it? Who is like unworthy scum on the bottom of my shoe on Twitch? Oh shit, Tag is speedrunning. Why the fuck are you speedrunning Resident Evil, dude? Of all the games. Hold on, thinking how weird I want this host to be. Give us a message relay. I'm gonna host the Path of Exile streamer. Super random. I want to host Tai Killer. I think he's he might be current world record holder for speedruns of PoE. So like not grinding infinitely boredom. The speedruns are kind of cool. I don't know if he's like currently the top holder, but he's definitely good at it. And he's doing some runs at the moment. So I'll send you there. Kind of weird. He's gonna be like, yeah, Ster? Who the fuck's that? And then you guys should be like, I don't know. I don't know, dude. But speedruns are infinite grinds? Yeah, you got me there.